Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Comic Art Fans update. This is our 81st or something. It's been a long streak of doing these, but I'm so happy that you guys managed to hang out with me through all of this. Nice to see all my regulars in the chat. Dino, nice to see you. That trophy's going in the mail, but I believe tomorrow or Saturday. So I can't wait to when you get it, you got to take a photograph of where you end up putting it on display, and then send it to me because I want to have a picture of as many of those in their cabinets as possible. So Alfredo and David and Matt, all you guys, yeah, there you go, Marcus. It is like the final countdown. Maybe I should change the intro music when we get the show rolling. I don't know. I kind of like what I got there. It's nice, short, sweet. But Victor and Murdoch, thanks for picking up art in last night's Dueling Dealers. I really appreciate it. Hey, Hart, nice to see you too. Berkey was really rough on me last night on the Dueling Dealers episode, wasn't he? He was like over directing. He really didn't. He needs to learn to relax when he's on vacation and not mistreat the guy handling his art, which is still sitting in a nice pile over there that I'm going to have to drop off to his place soon. Yeah, the NFL awards are tonight. That's true. But Ruben, so good to see you as well. And Nick, as always, like you say, everybody should hit a thumbs up tonight so we can improve my algorithm out there. And if you're not a subscriber on the channel, of course, you should be subscribing, especially if you like all the stuff we're doing. And I could go on and on. Nice to see you too, Scott. So busy show, really busy. This is probably one of the I've got more things on my to-do list tonight than I probably have had in a very long time. So lots of stuff to talk about schedule wise and future art sale shows that I've got going on. But first up, this is I've got a little preview for the upcoming Hakes auction, actually. And really, if you follow them on CAF, and if you're a premium member, you should be following their CAF gallery. They've been updating their CAF gallery quite a bit in the last 24, 48 hours. I think they'll be able to wrap up all of the artwork that they're going to have in the upcoming auction. I believe Kelly told me it will all be up there tomorrow, but I can kind of give you a preview of the dates just so you know when it is. The 234th auction. The auction starts February 22nd, ends on the 15th through the 16th. I believe they've probably got, what do they have up there now? About 65 pieces of art already posted to their CAF gallery. And I like I say, I know they've got plenty more to add to it tomorrow. So keep an eye on that. And again, their auction starts in less than 2 weeks. So keep your eye on that. We'll obviously more than likely be doing a preview sometime either in the week before or after the auction actually gets underway, and I'm sure we'll have Kelly and Tim on for that. But I do have Tim Fling and an artist who's got a piece of art in the actual auction, Matt. Now, last name, Matt. We didn't get a chance to talk in the green room. So how do you pronounce your last name?
For years I've pronounced it Dimasi, and my family does. But if you're in Italy, it's Dimasi, and a lot of folks call me Matt Dimasi, and that's fine too.
So. All right, I was going to go with Dimasi. This sounds like it rolls off the tongue a little bit easier. So
yes.
So welcome to the show, both of you. Tim, you've been on before. You were here on the last time I think we did an auction preview. And you're new to the whole Hakes thing, but now you're a veteran since you've been on their staff for a little
exactly yeah. And man, I was lucky enough to stumble across Matt, and just really thrilled about the artwork, and I'm glad we got a chance to talk about it.
Yeah, no, it's great to have Matt on too, because Matt, I didn't know it. I did actually check. You do have a CAF gallery, and you have a couple pieces in it.
I have a couple pieces. Yeah, I haven't posted a lot, but a couple over the years I've posted there. Yeah. Oh,
fantastic. Well, maybe sometime we're going to be talking about the mosaics that you create, but we should probably have you on some time to talk about your CAF, your art collection sometime if you're ever open to something like that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Right. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
Cool. So let's see. Yeah, somebody's asking what's up with the giant Star Wars bounty hunter cover from Alfredo. So we're going to be talking about that because Matt has one of his mosaics in the upcoming Hakes auction. And I'll actually pull up an image of it here so I can show it off. But so wow. For me, yeah, isn't that awesome? We actually know where the original art to this cover is. Of course, it's on CAF as well. But it's a classic image, and this is going to be, like I said, in the upcoming auction. And it looks like you got Steranko to sign the frame as well, right?
Yes, that was at the Little Giant Comic-Con. I think either 3 years ago or 2 years ago. I can't remember now.
Oh, cool.
But was honored to have him sign the piece, and just neat as an artist to see another artist where I've done a tribute to them, to see my take in mosaic broken ceramic tile. So it was a thrill.
No, these are really cool. So what's the how much time does it usually take to put one of these things together?
So these take usually about 3 months to do, Bill. I do them kind of in the off hours. I work full time in medicine, and I do these kind of on the evenings, weekends, and days off. And it's the kind of thing I can work for maybe up to an hour, and then it's like doing a puzzle. You just got to kind of quit for a little bit. So there are no 8-hour days put in unless there's a deadline I'm trying to hit. So I would say the average one takes about 3 months to build. And I have it's a custom frame. I have a frame builder, and the same gentleman paints my frames. He's phenomenal. So he builds the frames. They're plywood, 3/4 inch plywood in the back, and then they have tile board glued and screwed to the plywood, and then they're trimmed out, usually in poplar, because that's the best for him to paint. So then I'm giving back the frame raw, and then I pencil on the tile board the image of the cover. I use a grid method to do that. And that penciling usually takes a couple days to get that complete. And then over time, I use glossy 4x4 ceramic tiles usually. And I break the tiles, and each piece is glued on. There's a mastic that I use to glue that adheres to the tile board. And it's kind of like doing a giant puzzle. And I've learned to really get the pencils tight, because early on when I do these, I'd kind of rush the pencils a little bit, and you can get lost if you start to tile and you don't have the tight pencils. You can kind of run into trouble. So I try to keep the pencils tight, and then just trust what's on the board. Sometimes even as you're going, you're not quite sure, but at the end I use sanded grout that goes over and fills in all the cracks, and that's usually when the whole thing really comes together, is when it's grouted.
Well, that's pretty amazing. I mean, it's kind of like you're building your own puzzle as you go, because you don't have with a puzzle, you've got the pieces already, but here you've got to make all the pieces yourself to get it all to fit together. And I went to school to be a sculptor too, so I think these are awesome. I only built utilitarian things like boxes and shelves and different stuff. So I love seeing art like this, where it's meant to be admired in a unique way, and it's a presentation piece. And these are really, really, really
Yeah,
cool.
and one thing is, it's hard to get the scale from the photo. These are large pieces, like commanding pieces of art,
Yeah, they're usually about 4 feet tall, 3 feet wide, and then they're pretty heavy. They wind up being about 70 to 80 pounds, depending on if it's a golden age size or silver age size. But they will hang on the wall. You can use a bracket hanger, and they'll as long as you catch 2 studs, they'll hang right on the wall. So.
Right, they are pretty heavy. I can only imagine.
Yes.
But
and at the end, the same person that builds the frames, he is phenomenal with paint. So the frames, he does a phenomenal job on there. They're almost like glass. Usually use glossy black with a clear coat at the end, and it's almost like a mirror the way he does it. He's a talented guy. Wow, so the Avengers was one I did, Bill, for the Stanley Museum. One of the early pieces I did is I did Amazing Fantasy 15, and I was able to bring it down to the Boston Comic Con. I think it was in 2015, maybe. And they allowed the piece to go in Stan's signing booth for the weekend, and it was really neat. He did all the signings with the piece kind of right behind him. So a lot of the photos I saw on social media had the AF-15 behind Stan, which was really an honor, really neat.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Totally.
That's awesome.
And I got to hang back at the end of the con and meet him and go up and have a nice conversation with him. And I showed him the mosaic, and he signed the tile on that one for me. It was on a piece of marble that I had. He signed that, and I glued that into the mosaic. And then the following year, I told him I wanted to do one for him, and we talked about a couple different pieces. And I had mentioned Avengers 4, and he seemed very excited about that. So that was what I did for him. That went to the Stanley Museum back several years ago.
Well, I like the fact that in a lot of these you kind of get the creators' names on the mosaics as well, as part of the cover recreation that you're doing. I think that's a really fine tribute to the people who made who had a hand in the original covers. Yes. And stories as well. I mean, that must be pretty important to you.
Very, very important to me, Bill. This is my tribute to their work. I mean, it's an honor to be able to kind of reproduce these images are so classic, so burned in our minds. Not only comic collectors, but some of the more recognizable covers, even into the general population, have seen sales of some of the big books. So I just love to put the spin on it, but always have to credit the artist, because it's their image that I'm homaging. So.
No, yeah, these are amazing.
Amazing.
And the thing that's really great is you've actually been able to get out and meet some of the creators as well. I've got a couple slides here with you, with Neil and Bernie and these. I mean, that's got to be a fun part of doing these, is the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, Bill, I would say that's maybe the most, the most fun and rewarding part is that, because, the months of, there's so many hours that go into these, and I do fortunately love every hour that goes in. Sometimes I'll struggle on a certain spot and get frustrated, but for the most part, I really enjoy the process of these. And because they take so long, I think that's the key to keep, kind of keep plugging on. But to have them see the work was really neat. Quick story about Bernie. This was back at, I think also at the Boston Comic-Con. And he was there, and I had shown he and his wife a picture of the mosaic, and I said, I'd love for you guys to see it. And I was set up across the con from where he was. And at that time, he was not well. He was using a walker. And I think he had one more surgery after that. But I had seen him a couple times. So Friday, I think we touched base, and Saturday I saw him, and he was super busy. As you can imagine, his booth was booked. So by Sunday, it was middle of the day, and I was thinking, boy, he's probably not going to be able to lay eyes on this piece. And then I ended up walking over the booth, and I said, would it be okay if I brought the piece to Bernie? And she said, oh, that would be great. And I said, I have a dolly. I'll wheel it over to him. So I called my buddy Jason, and he came over. We grabbed the piece and we wheeled it through the halls of the Boston Comic-Con, and people were kind of surrounding us, which were moving it toward him. And it was so neat. He looked up at the piece, and he kind of did a double take, and then he got up and he came over with his walker, and he stared at the piece. And I wish I had audio, Bill. My buddy Jason took some shots, pictures, some really neat pictures during the interaction, but I can't remember exactly what he said, but wow, it was just such a thrill to hear him talk about this piece, what he was saying about it. And I told him I wanted to do a piece for him, and I asked him which cover he would want. And he was actually wearing the Swamp Thing 9 shirt, and he said, this is probably my most recognizable and maybe my favorite piece. And he said, would you do another one of these for me? And I said, absolutely. And he said, I'm going to do a drawing for you. And he said, what do you think, hon? To his wife. And they looked over, and he smiled, and I shook his hand. And unfortunately, that was I think the last full con that he did. I know he went to one other con after, and then had another brain surgery and passed away shortly thereafter. But that was really a neat moment.
Man, what a great experience, right? I mean, to have him
Really,
see his appreciation and everything for that. I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bill.
A couple other ones here, getting to meet Mr. Miller. And
yes, and Todd Mcfarlane. I have to big thank you to Todd. I early on, I did the Spawn piece for him. I was able to fly to Arizona, present it to him in his office, and he was fantastic, and just such a neat, dynamic guy to meet, and be able to shake his hand and show him. We actually had the piece in his display room there, and then we had it under a sheet. So he came in the room, and he said, all right, let's see what we have. We lifted off the sheet, and he said, oh, I thought you were going to do Spider-Man. You did Spawn. And I did capture his signature at the bottom left, and he was kind of thrilled with that. And I got to kind of hang out for part of the day in his office, and that was a real treat to meet him. And I talked to him a little bit about going forward. I had only done a few at the time, and he said, you really could get with an artist and kind of do some of their classic covers over time. And turned out I did Spider-Man 1 a couple of years later when I really had my chops down, and I feel like that's probably my best piece. But I really thank Todd for getting that started. I remember back then he posted on social media about the piece, and he was talking about, maybe I'll use this as a door to the entrance to my house and everything. So we had a lot of laughs, and then he said, I can put you in touch with other people, and he was the one that was able to put me in touch with Frank Miller. And Frank signed the Daredevil piece there. That was one of the variants we did, but I also did a Dark Knight Returns for Frank, and so he has that piece now. So yeah, it's been so much fun meeting these great artists.
What a privilege to do that kind of thing. And I mean, that's a great opportunity to meet Todd. I've actually never met him myself at a show. So I mean, whatever gets you in the door to hang out with some of these guys, that's fantastic. So when did you start doing these, and what was the, I mean, what's your art background, I guess would be a good question.
Yeah. So the comic thing goes back to the late 70s. I was a kid, maybe 8 or 9 years old. I had an older cousin that collected, and we used to walk down to the corner store and buy the comics off the spinner rack. And he actually had I was probably 8 or 9, and he was probably 12, and he had a business for comic books, and he used to order the bags, and he knew everything about collecting and condition and everything. So for a few years that was my childhood collection that I kept. And actually, real quick, I'll show you here, but this is the book that kind of started it all for me. He brought me to a convention in Boston. And I think I bought this I probably had $10 in my pocket to spend, and I probably spent most of it on this book. And years later, I ended up having it graded. But so Spider-Man 10 was like the grail of my comic book collection.
Wow.
And then I ended up, I did art informally over the years, never formally. And my dad was a physician, and when I was middle of college, kind of just trying to decide what to do. And then toward the end of college, I was applying to medical schools, and I was on waiting lists. I had applied to, I think, maybe 5 schools, and I didn't get into Harvard, and I was on waiting lists for Tufts, BU, and I think a couple other schools. So toward the very end of the summer, it was not looking like my chances of getting into med school was going to happen. So I ended up spending a day with my uncle, who was a graphic artist in Boston, and had a great day with him, and left that day thinking, geez, I think I'm going to go the art route and be a graphic artist. And I would say a day or maybe 2 later after that, I got the acceptance to BU medical school, and my career took that path. So again, for a number of years, I didn't really think about comics or collect, had just had my childhood collection. Mm-hmm. But then about 10 years ago, it's maybe 2012 is when I got back into collecting, and man, I got the bug. And at that time, CGC was all new to me. I started looking at comics online and saying, what are these books that are in cases? I never remember anything about that, because the 90s was the last time I really collected.
Sure.
And so when I got in really hard, and I had done a couple mosaics. I remember when my first job was on Cape Cod, and I was remodeling the kitchen. And in the backsplash, they asked me if I wanted tile, and I said yes. And they said, we have plain tile, which is just a white thing. And they had a couple of pre-cut mosaics. I think they had a star pattern or something else. And I said, maybe I'll do my own mosaic. So I ended up doing a dolphin, and I penciled out the dolphin. I had to special order the tile, and I used a hammer, and the methods were crude back then because I didn't really know what I was doing, but I ended up, gluing the pieces on and doing the dolphin. And then I brought the gentleman at the tile shop. He said, when you're done, bring us a picture, So I brought him a picture, and he's like, holy cow, you did this dolphin, I said, yeah. So that was, I started with that. I did a few other wildlife ones, but when I started back in the comics, I said, I really need to do a superhero. So on a wall in my mom's house, she was finishing the basement, and my brother-in-law put the tile board on a huge section of the wall and said, go for it, and I did a Captain America on the wall. So that's where it started. But back then I was using big pieces. I didn't know anything about the technique. So I remember thinking at the time it looked really neat, but I look back at the early work and I go, wow, that's terrible, But you can see the progression. After that, I started doing framed ones, but again, it was a single character, plain background, large pieces. And then it was really, I think you showed earlier, the Detective 27 piece. That was the very first cover recreation that I did. And I said, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to start. Remember starting the top left corner, and I said, I'm going to use small pieces and just really try to capture the whole cover. So I think that one came out pretty good. Although I look at it today, and I think if I did that again today, I could improve significantly on it. But so then it was just a matter of each one taking probably up to 300 hours to do. So it was a lot of trial and error. And then kind of taking on more complex covers over time, getting better at doing the lettering. There's a lot of, all the small writing in some of the ones that I've done recently. It's something I couldn't have done maybe 3-4 years ago, but I feel like now most covers I can look at and say, I can probably give it a run.
Wow. Well, they are fantastic. There was a question in the audience. I mean, do you do these just kind of for yourself as a personal thing, or as gifts, or do you do these on a commission basis? How what's the end product supposed to be? Is it supposed to be something to hang on your wall, or do you like to kind of put them out in the world?
Yeah, so what I prefer to do is do one that I really am passionate about. And there are certain covers that some people ask me to do covers, and if there's a lot of small characters, I don't feel like I can do it justice. The best ones are, central image and then maybe a nice background. So I prefer to do them, one that really sparks my interest. But I've learned to kind of also do ones that I shouldn't say made the mistake, but I picked a couple covers for Marvel covers that were not maybe the most recognizable cover, and they were still very enjoyable. But looking back, I do now these days pitch it a little bit toward what I think people will love, because that's part of the thing, is just having them out there.
Sure.
So I have done several commissions, and it seems like when I finish one, usually sometimes during it, I say, maybe I'll keep this because I have a son that's 14 and I'm thinking it'd be neat to give him as a gift. But usually when I finish a piece, I kind of say, I move on to the next piece. And then the other piece, I just think it's neat to have someone like the folks from Heritage help me, move this out into the world, into a collector's hand. And I just think they should be out there. And if people enjoy them, that's great. So.
Well, fantastic. I mean, Hakes has been doing a bang up job lately as well. And, they've always been really supportive of what we do on CAF. And so I always like being able to kind of promote anything that they've got. But this was a unique opportunity to get to talk to you about your art as well. And I've got to actually pulled up a slide. I didn't make a slide of this. I'll just add it into the stream. But I know that McSpidey fan in our in the chat tonight mentioned a Spider-Man cover. So I figured I'd show that one off too. But it's just amazing.
That one we did, Bill, on the Spider-Man 1 facsimile that came out maybe a year and a half ago. And we did a few different versions of that. But that was the most challenging piece. And maybe, most of my work I look at and there are little areas that I know where I made a mistake or something I might do a little bit differently. That one, I just feel like I was able to capture it. And I forget how many spiders. There aren't as many as there are on Todd's cover, but I think there's like 66 little spiders on there. And this was just brutally, the hours that went into this were crazy, but I really loved it. I felt like I was, it's neat to study a cover in that detail because I know all these covers, but there's something about looking at that cover and really evaluating it and figuring out how am I going to capture, where are the grout lines going to fall? Do I use a large piece for the eye, or do I make a grout line through the eye, which might not look right? So there's so many choices that go in, and it's just fun to by the end of this, I feel like I've spent so much time with that cover, and it's just kind of a neat thing. So
the colors are great too.
Yeah, that one I had a really neat gold colored tile that had a sheen to it. A lot of them are kind of a saturated single color, but this one really had almost like a sheen to it, and it in person, they look very different too. Some people see them in pictures and then they'll come where I present. I used to present at the New York Comic Con, and people would come up to the booth and say, oh my God, they look so different in person. Because there's a lot of depth to them, because each piece, even though I try to make them flush, they're always slightly off. So there's a lot of reflectivity. And I remember, especially in New York Con with the lights above, they kind of glisten in the light. It's kind of a neat effect.
No, this is, I can only imagine, like you said, 300 hours to put into some of these. That's a pretty huge commitment on a piece of art. I mean, it didn't take the original artist 300 hours to put it together, but you have to really want to get it done and be, and commit yourself to it, because that's a long time. Do you tend to work on more than one at a time?
It's funny. I usually only work on one at a time. Although right now I have a couple in progress. I'm doing a Vampirella 1 magazine, the Frazetta, and then Tales of Suspense 39. And I had to order, I was able to do letters at the top of Vampirella. I think I sent a picture of that. But then for that piece, I really want to get the feel of that. And I know the moon in the background, there's a lot of texture. And I didn't want to use a straight yellow. So there's a tile place in town that I go to and consult with. And we ended up choosing maybe 6 or 7 different tiles that had a nice glaze. It wasn't a standard glaze, and I'm excited to see how those come together. And I'll try to capture the subtle bat silhouette in the back of the moon, and the brown in the background. I had a color that probably would have worked, but I wanted to get everything right on this piece. So and I remember messaging with Sarah Frazetta, and I said, over the years, she's seen some of my work, and I said, when I get good enough, I'm gonna finally take on a Frazetta piece. So I'm just really excited about this one to go.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty impressive when it's done. But it's probably only a third, not even a third of the way into it, right? So you've got another 200 plus hours to go.
I've got a long way to go. Yeah.
Let's see. I made an extra slide here. This is the last one I made, but these are two amazing. I'm a big Marvel fan, so these are two classic covers for me. So these are beautiful.
Yes, thank you so much, Bill. Yeah, this was neat. I was able to get in touch with Al Milgram when I did the Iron Fist, and I ended up going down to New York and met him at his house, and we had it out in the driveway, and he signed the piece for me, and it was neat spending time with him. And then a couple of years later, I ended up doing the Rocket Raccoon, and just last year at the show here in Concord, New Hampshire, a Little Giant show, he signed the frame for that for me. So that was really cool. And I did variant on the Rocket Raccoon. Have not done the Iron Fist 14. I think that's one of that one's hanging in my house here. And I something about that one I really love. People have asked what's your favorite piece. In some ways, I think the Iron Fist 14. So I'm hoping to maybe put that on a book if there's the right book that comes up in the future. It'd be neat to do a variant with that one. But
Wow.
Al's a lot of fun. Just a neat guy to listen to some of his stories about the early days in Marvel in the 70s. It's just, I could sit there and listen to him for hours on end. So.
He's a creator who I've actually never met, unfortunately, but I'd love to get the chance someday.
Yes.
But so we've got the auction starting in less than 2 weeks.
The 22nd.
On the 22nd, and like we mentioned, this is the piece that is in this auction. So I hope everybody takes a look at it, gives it a look, and hopefully put some bids on it. I'm sure several of you will. This is such a classic cover, and not only this piece by Matt, but there's lots of great art that's going to be in this auction as well. That again we'll be talking about in a few weeks. But Matt, we should definitely have you on sometime if you're ever open to it. I mean, you've got my email address now, so please let me know. Maybe what your availability might be in the next couple of months, and maybe we can work something out. I'd love to have you on and talk about, your art collection as well, if you're open to that, and more about this. It seems like a lot of people are very interested in these recreations that you do. So, yes. If anybody ever wanted to reach out to you, what's the easiest way to do that? I mean,
the best way is on Instagram is where I usually post a lot of my progress pictures and finished pieces and some of the video clips from things. So it's shattered_comics is the Instagram. And there's Messenger on there that's very easy to use. So I think that's probably the best way to reach me. I just want to thank too, Josh Jeppy is a very good friend of mine, and he's the one that got me the deal to do the Marvel variants. This was back maybe 5 years ago, and I had just finished the Punisher. It's interesting. The Punisher I had about half done, and I lost my steam on it. I ended up moving on to a different project, and maybe a year went by, and it was sitting in my tile room, kind of half finished. And I happened to take a photo of the current one, and then I posted on Facebook, and someone said, "Oh, you got the Punisher in the background." And then there was a whole thread of people saying, "Oh, I want to see the Punisher." So I ended up saying, "All right." So I finished the Punisher. And then that one, Josh had me down to, he used to have a show called Comic Wow down in Baltimore. And so he brought me down. I brought a few pieces down there, and we did the show. And then we both talked about, he said it'd be really neat to do a variant with these. So he put me in touch with David Gabriel from Marvel. And I've been very thankful to David and Dan Petralia that worked with me on the variants. And this was the first published one, went on Spider-Man 789, the legacy issue. And that piece actually was sold privately to Fish. So Fish has that piece, and Fish is a good friend of mine as well. So neat to have it in his hands. He's got a wonderful collection, and I'm honored to have one of my pieces in his collection. So,
Tom Fish?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Nope. That's a great place for it to be. That's for sure.
Yeah.
He does have an amazing art collection. Well, and that kind of stands to reason. I can see that being in his possession. But that's fantastic. So one quick question before you go. So, Mikhail wanted to know, how many of these have you done, do you think?
I think I've done about 30 covers. And maybe I think we've done about a dozen of them through Marvel variants. And then I did do Ninja Turtles #1, and that was published through IDW. That was kind of neat. We got to do the oversized, just like the original edition. And it was a facsimile edition, so the interior was the same as the Turtles one. So that was a really fun project through IDW. But the rest had been through Marvel.
Very, very nice. See, I saw that turtle image. I didn't make a slide of it, but here I can actually show it real quick here. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, each one, Bill, I like to take on covers that challenge me. This one, I remember a friend of mine had mentioned this, and I'm a Turtles fan, but not a huge Turtles fan, so it wasn't one that I was saying I have to do this. But when I started looking at the cover, I know they use the duo shade technique, and then it's got a very linear feel to it. So that was something where I really got excited, because I said, instead of using standard, odd random shapes of the tile, a lot of these were linear tiles, and I used tile nippers to get the right shape. So that was the draw to do this cover, is to really try to capture that angular feel of the cover, and especially with just so few, three colors in the piece, other than the red. So that was a challenge, and those are the things that really get me rolling. Like you said, the number of hours, but I get excited about these things, and I just have a great time doing it. And I just, so much appreciation for the artists. I mean, Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird. I mean, just what a wonderful creation that's really touched all of our lives. So this is just my humble tribute to, to their art.
Yeah, James Henderson's comment about seeing a highlight video of you putting one of these together. That would be pretty cool. Just put a stationary camera up and let it, film over time. I mean, 300 hours is probably several months, but it might be something cool to do, right?
Yes.
I'm actually going to be showing a video of something very similar to that later on in the show tonight, but that from an artist painting a mural. But yeah, that would be something, really neat to consider if you had the time and, you could plug it into something so you could take enough video to do that.
Yep. I've thought about that, and a couple times I've started to do it and then I forget or whatever, but I am going to set something like that up. And I have a friend who is very tech savvy, and he said he can help me, get the camera in place. And that way it would, as soon as it's motion, it would set it off. And then I could, sometimes I'll go, I do these in odd hours. Sometimes I'll tile, I'll be tired, but then I'll get a second wind at 10 at night and I'll run down to the tile room and start doing a section. And then sometimes I always take a picture. When I do a section, I always take a picture, and then I'll usually look at the photo after and see if I'm happy with it. But I've had nights, my wife could tell you, that I'll go to bed and I'll be thinking about the section I just did, and I'll look at it and say it's not quite right. And I'll go down there and rip out the tile and redo it. So, yeah.
Now, you didn't send me a picture of the Star Wars. Scott Wingo was asking if we had seen one, but I don't think I got a photograph of.
Oh yeah, so that's the.
Yeah, here, let me go full screen here for you, everybody. Wow.
Nice.
That was tricky. I remember the face on Bosk. I had it finished, and the glue sets fairly quickly. So if you're not within a day or two, it can be a real pain tearing it out. But I think it was the spacing of his eyes or something that wasn't quite right with me. And I ended up days later having to take a screwdriver and pop out all the tiles, and I ended up redoing the whole face. But at the end, I felt like, all right, I've got his. I made him got that face of Boss. That was important to me. So, and I usually start with whatever the seminal part, whatever the key feature of that mosaic is. I often do the logo first, but then after that, I go right to what is it on that piece that if I can't capture it, I'm going to scrap it, because that's what I want to do.
Sure.
So it was
on the Frazetta, you're going to work on the figure first, right? Before you start working on the surroundings.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's tricky. I've looked at that and I've studied it, and the face it's subtle. There's a lot of nuance there, but not a lot of, some of I remember doing a Wiz comics, Captain Marvel, and human faces are tricky because I do have a tile that's the right flesh color, but I often use black grout, and you need to be conscientious of where your grout lines are falling, if things going to, if the nose is going to look right and the cheek and all. But I found that, as in those early golden age, the face was really just the flesh color, and then a couple dots for the eyes and a line for the mouth, and two, very simple things. But on the Frazetta piece, that's going to be my challenge, is trying to capture her face. And if I can get that, then I'm going to roll. So I hope I can pull that off. Yeah.
Well, everybody in the chat is very impressed with your work, man. So I hope, I'm sure the auction is going to do really well for you and for Hakes. So, congratulations on all that. I hope you keep doing these, because they're amazing. It seems like something you're so passionate about. I can't imagine you've ever taken a break. But, the one cool thing before I let you go, I had this vision of you just with a hammer and the tiles, but so you're actually using one of those little things that you can nibble away at the end of the,
Yes,
that's pretty cool.
When I started, I was just breaking them and trying to fit them into the right, trying to break it again and get the right angle. But now, over the years, I've used tile nippers, and they're really crucial to the process.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's not accidental.
I did want to thank you, Bill, and I wanted to thank Hakes very much. I'm honored to have a piece in their auction. So
it's an honor.
Tim and Alex and the whole gang and the Jeppy family and Hakes, and thank you very much. I really, really appreciate the opportunity to get the art out into the world. But,
my pleasure, man.
It was great, and great to have you both on. And as a parting thought from one of our viewers, Comic Art Boston said it would be nice to have a portrait of the greats of our hobby. So that's something to think about. Maybe you don't do them as gigantic as those, but that might be, maybe you do a series of historic creators.
Yes, that would be neat.
One of Bernie, right? At the end of the day,
absolutely.
I'm not trying to deter you or make you take a different path, but that's not a bad idea.
That's a great
So,
idea. Appreciate it.
and yeah, they said I need one on my back wall too. So maybe one day, Eric.
Right.
So Matt, Tim, thank you so much for being available tonight to do this. And
My pleasure.
Tim,
My pleasure.
I'll see you again in a few weeks, probably with Kelly.
We'll see each other
we'll
again.
See.
I just want to say a quick thanks to Matt for agreeing to do this on sort of last minute. It's really been just a pleasure the whole time, and the piece is just amazing. It's really an honor to represent it.
Thank you kindly. Appreciate it.
Take care,
gentlemen. Yep. Have a great evening. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, that was fun. See, I thought we'd only have 20 minutes, but this work turned out into something a little bit more than I was expecting. And Matt seems like a great guy. I would like to have him on the show. He does have I do have his CAF gallery around here, but it only has 2 pieces of art in it. But I'll go ahead and share it just so you can see if you didn't already look him up while you were watching the show here. But let's just see. Oh, so only 2 pieces, but a Kirby Black Panther cover and the cover to Defenders 84. So only 2 pieces on his CAF. Been a member since 2016. So like he said, he's got a lot of more art that he hasn't added to his CAF gallery. So that would be an interesting interview if he would agree to do it. We'll see shortly that I've got a very, very busy schedule. I've got everything booked all the way through the end of March now. But yeah, that was awesome. I'm glad you guys all enjoyed it as well as I did. So. And we definitely will have Hakes on in the next couple of weeks once they get their auction underway, and we'll do a fun preview like we always do. But let me close this window here. Like I say, I've got a huge amount of stuff to talk about. I'm going to jump over to a mailbag right now because I've got a few different things that have come in the last couple of days. And this isn't really a mailbag, but after the Dueling Dealers show last night, this piece didn't sell, and Gwen came in the room, and she's only asked for one piece of art ever. After a Dueling Dealers show, and I should actually show that off sometime. It was one of the Ramos pieces that Anthony had, but this was the Bongdazzo piece, and I'm not sure what it was, but both Maureen and Gwen really wanted it. I mean, so maybe we're going to be going with a Marvel Christmas theme at some point here at CAF HQ, but that is now added to Gwen's art collection. And so let me get to the mailbag stuff here first. I did get a couple letters, and I'm not quite sure what's in them, so I don't know if I want to read them, but we'll see. One was from the Hannigans, and it was, there you go. Very nice thank you letter from them. Let's see, they're thanking me for the donations. After the show, I was able to pull together all the donations that came in for, Ed and Heidi, and I cut them a check and got that sent out. And so she's thanking me for that and all the hard work. And she is definitely looking forward to the next show that we do with him. We haven't scheduled it yet, but I would imagine that we'll have something in the works probably late spring or early summer, and have another art sale for Ed. So that's so she's very happy, and sends her regards to myself and everybody at the CAF HQ for pulling that together. So I appreciate that. Thank you cards are not something that many people do anymore. I don't know what your families are like. I mean, we're not as great at it as we should be, but we definitely should try a little bit harder. But let's see, another letter came in, and really, I'm not going to tell you who it's from, but it's from a dealer that I've been working with, and they, I had to do some work for them, and usually I don't charge dealers for small tweaks here or there, but this dealer was very happy with some recent things that Maureen and I kind of put ourselves into to get done for them, and they actually sent me a check for doing that work. And I was going to kind of just do it for nothing because I felt like I maybe should have done it when I first built their website. So that was very nice. So next up, a package from Anthony Snyder. It's kind of flimsy, so I don't know what it could be, but let's take a look. This thing arrived today. Okay, what do we got in here? All right, it's a shirt, and I thought it might be one of those cake break shirts, but it is not. It is it's probably something that he would like to see me wear at a con or something. There you go. It's a mystery machine. Got the whole gang. I guess probably so that I can remember the wonderful episode we did on Dueling Dealers with the whole Scooby gang. So that's good. I appreciate that from Anthony. As we've seen, he sent me small gifts here and there. It seems like every month I get something from him, whether it's a t-shirt or it's some Thor posable character, or there's a Loki back there. So yep. Yeah, exactly, Marcus. Cake mix would have been very appropriate. And no, it's not in a portfolio, Mikhail. And no pasties in that. Yeah. Well, that's kind of odd. Usually every single package I get from Anthony has at least 20 stickers in it. And nope, just a t-shirt. Just a t-shirt this time. So final item. This is packaged very well. And of course, dressed to me, and it is from Hart. Hart is in the chat tonight, and he emailed me and asked if get my mailing address, and he wanted to send me something for the anniversary of CAF. And so I will open this thing very carefully. Let's see here. And Hart, I do appreciate that. I got a lot of emails. Just congratulating us on getting to 19 years. I mean, I'm really looking forward to getting to year 20 next year. That's going to be a lot of fun. Mikhail and James and Nick and I talked after the awards presentation that we're definitely planning on doing something special for next year. Say at the end of January or early February, we'll start looking at the what our opportunities are there and trying to do something live and with all of us together for that 20th anniversary. So, again, early in the planning stages and thoughts there, but let's see. We've got something good in the works. Let's see. It's not. All right. So I won't show the art first, but the note says, Bill, happy anniversary, 19 years. It's not gold. It's not silver. It's Zipatone. Best, Hart Rykhoff. So look at that. I'm saving this note. That is, it's a Zipatone year, right? For everybody. That is awesome. 19 years. What will 20 years be? And so Hart, you were going to give me some details on this dread piece. And this is really, really nice, man. I was honestly, because I've only read a little bit of 2000 AD, but I've always loved the stories because they're just so off the wall and violent and crazy and everything. And when I was recently just thinking, trying to assess my collection and thinking, what do I need? And I was literally, and this is not even 10 days ago, I was like, I got to get a dread piece somehow, somewhere. So, okay. So here's Hart. He has put that in there. It's Colin Wilson. Very nice. Alan Grant. Let's see. This is from 1981. Colin's first 2000 AD project. Hart, man, I can't even begin to tell you. This is just simply incredible. I'm totally blown away, man. This is great. Oh man. Well, I can tell you that the next 19 years I'm going to work just as hard as I have these 19 years, and this is just so wonderful. I mean, I could check out. I don't have to buy a dread piece now. This is amazing. One of the things I've always loved about 2000 AD is the lettering. I mean, there's just something about it, right? Like the hold it, you're under arrest. I mean, nobody letters like. And I don't even know if it's if it's a single person or if they have multiple people who do the lettering on these things. But it's just so darn consistent and unique and so different than typical what we get in typical American comics. So love it. Love it. Love it. This is great. Thank you, Hart. Yeah. I mean, this is, this isn't going anywhere. This is going to stay in my collection forever. Wow. Man. Yeah, exactly. Everybody, Colin, Colin Wilson is somebody I always admired Colin's work too. And I've never owned a piece of work by Colin either. So, man. So no, thank you, Hart. If we ever get to hang out at a show in the future, let's go out for a drink. And I'm going to keep your note with this because that's incredibly thoughtful. Thank you so much. Wow. It's kind of hard to move on from something like that, but I'm telling you, I'm at 45 minutes already, and I've got so many things to talk about. I want to run through a couple things really, really quick. First off is the dueling dealer schedule and just the art sales schedule in general. There's a lot of stuff going on. Next Monday, I've got Davi Go on from Next Comic Art. And I'll just kind of hit the main shows here on the 21st, so the Monday after that. Kat Taka and Sharon Snyder will be going against each other in an amateur dueling dealer show. Then that Saturday, I'll be doing a kind of a 30-minute to 45-minute show with Afua Richardson, and then that will kind of roll right into a segment with Carl Maline. I'm sorry, I'm butchering his name. I did that last week too, but I'll have both of them on. We'll do a little interview, and we'll show off some art for sale as well, and it will be handled the exact same way as the Howard Chaykin sale went, where you'll be emailing in to Third Eye Comics, and they'll handle all the fulfillment. The art will be in their hands when the show starts, so all the art will be able to get mailed out immediately. I would assume anybody who's bought anything from Howard already got it, and got it a long time ago. I saw a lot of it appearing on CAF the same week before the show was even a week old. So I thought that was pretty awesome, and a better setup than we've had in the past. And so then the following Monday after that, we're supposed to have Miko Swayan on from Next Comic Art. Then we've got then the following Monday after that, I've got another amateur show between Matt and Jordan, and that's going to be, really, really great. We've got a fun theme around that show that I think everybody's going to really enjoy. Then the other confirmation I did just get a couple days ago, it will be round 2 with Joseph Linsner, and that will be on April 30th. Now, I am working out a couple things with Nick Barucci. Nick Barucci has wants to jump in the ring of dueling dealers, and he'll be going up against Jordan. We just have to finalize the date on that. I think we're looking at something in early to mid-April. And I will also be doing a show with Nick for artists that he works with over at Dynamite. So I think that we might probably do in March sometime, but we haven't settled on a date for that as well. But so I can't wait to do those shows with Nick too. I think those are going to be a lot of fun. And Nick versus Jordan, it's going to be a $500 and under show, everybody. So that's going to be a lot of, a lot of good art at good values. And yeah, exactly. It's going to be fantastic when Nick and Jordan battle it out. So it'll be a good show. It's lower price stuff, but always good art. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that. And when are we yelling about the X-Men artist? Sorry. What we'll do, Jason, I got to throw you and Larry a couple options on that, and I will get you on the schedule. So, because I do want to do that. That's going to be, I'm looking forward to the great debate on that one. I promise you that'll be a good show for sure. And as far as here, wrong slide there. Here is the upcoming chat schedule that, as you can see, is fully booked all the way through the end of March. I've got Dinesh and Zatari on for a second time. The show's primarily going to focus on some artworks that they've recently picked up, probably since the new year, that they've not shown off yet. And so it's going to kind of be a art day show, and maybe something that we end up doing a little bit more of with other CAF collectors who might want to show off a few pieces here before posting it to Facebook or even to your CAF gallery. I think that would be fun. And, art days have been a big part of the comic art hobby for a long time, starting with the Yahoo mailing group. Of course, everybody would start the subject line of their email off with art day, and usually the creator and the title and the subject, and then they talk about the art and the body of it. So, and we don't see that at all any longer, of course, over there, because everybody's doing it on CAF or Facebook and other social channels. But, I think it'll be something we can, even if it were a part of this show, bring on a couple of collectors, show off a few new pieces that they haven't shared anywhere else. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And then I know everybody enjoyed having Joe and Nadia Manarino on when we did the Best of Awards. We talked quite a bit after the show, and they wanted to do we'll probably end up doing a few different shows with them, but this will be a collector-oriented show, just talking about their history in the hobby as collectors. But, Joe and Nadia have a really, really, long history in the hobby, going back to the Christie's auctions and All-Star auctions, of course. And, they've got a lot of interesting stories and things that, that they'd love to share So we're definitely going to start this first one off as a regular collector interview with them. And if you don't know them, they have they've got thousands of pages in their collection that no one sees because they don't have a CAF gallery. So it'll be a really interesting conversation to get us kind of started with having them on the shows regularly. And they also volunteered to do some of the heritage previews, which it's been a hard time scheduling those, and they volunteered to do preview shows with me for that. So I think it's going to be fun, and I've always really liked Joe and Nadia, and so having them become a regular set of guests on the show for different things is going to be fun. And then I've got Eric Wenger on March 8th. Sean Gordon Murphy and Jeff, his art rep, will be on the show with me on the 15th. And so, I'm sure we'll talk a bit about Sean's career and his current projects. I know he's got a really big project debuting out of DC at the end of the month. But, they kind of wanted to also talk about just how they approach pricing and their business model in general. And I think that, that'll be a good perspective to have because, with the way the market is today, I'd raised that question in one of the chats recently about how, modern artists are approaching their commissions and their pricing structures when they're seeing things go crazy at auction. So I think it'll be an interesting show, to say the least. I'm looking forward to talking with Sean again. So I'm glad they volunteered for that. And then I've got Brian Norton, Mr. Red Jack, in the chat. Will be on the show on March 22nd. And then, yes, exactly. That's right, Jason, Mr. Red Jack. And then on the 29th, originally Jeremy Roberts was scheduled for the 1st, but he had something come up. So I've kind of moved him down to the 29th. So that's how I'm going to round out the whole month of February and March. And those are our Tuesday nights. So we are booked solid. And Eric, I can't wait to have Murphy on the show as well. So there you have that. Busy, very, very busy upcoming schedule. So, I'm going to mix it up again. I'm going to put the EXP bit here right in the middle of the show so I don't forget to play it ever again. And so let me go ahead and do that. You know that Nick has his show every Friday at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And, it's prime time, of course, but he always has a good turnout and has always got a lot of great art for sale as well. So I've got his EXP preview for tomorrow, so you can see some of the artworks he's going to bring. And let me go ahead and play that right now.
Hey everybody, hope you're having a great week. We have a great Friday original art experience at 7 p.m. Let's talk about it, and we're going to actually talk about it from the other direction this time. So we are going to have commission cover art that rocks. We're going to have Harley Quinn Suicide Squad April Fools. Check out the Harley Quinn Joker mashup there. Very much Peter Parker Spider-Man, only, a little more evil and a little more colorful. Then we have Chaos Purgatory sketch cover, and commission cover art. And I believe this is by Katie Hidalgo. And then look at how sick this Venom is. This is by Ken Hazer, and it is so Eric Larson-esque. It is beautiful. Then we're going to have some Mighty Avengers by Koi Pham, Avengers Academy by Sean Chen, Incredible Hulk. Gotta love that page. Check it out. Future's End. Oops, there we go. I'm going too quick for Amy. A little bit of Howard Porter, John Livesey. Whoa, you can never get these in all right. Another Iron Man page. These have been doing really well. And Green Lantern Corps double page spread. That is a beauty. Now, we're going to have art under $100, art under $200, and we're going to do a randomizer giveaway again because people love free stuff. Imagine that. Just trying to be cute when I said that. And then when you look at my face, you realize I can never be cute. So let's go with this Friday, February 11th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, only on The Experience. And if you wouldn't mind, hit that thumbs up and share. Sharing is caring. Thank you very much. See you Friday at 7 p.m.
Hey, Nick, I got to apologize for that because you don't know this, but I actually have to resize your videos every time I get them. And I didn't resize it down enough, so it was a little bit too wide on the screen. That's totally my fault. But you got the message. You saw the art. You just didn't see it as well as you should have. So I do apologize for that. And the only reason I have to do that, Nick, is because the StreamYard interface has a limit on the file sizes that I can upload. 200 meg is the limit, and all of your videos that I get are about 250 meg. So I always have to plop it back in my video editing program and resave it just a little bit to condense it to, maybe 100 meg or something like that. So I apologize. Yeah, I will get it right the next time. I thought I had it right. Darn it. Yes, it was zoomed in. So you got a closer look at the artwork, everybody. I'm maybe I was trying to do Nick a solid by doing that, but I'll definitely have it right the next time. I shouldn't have happened. But so next I've got a couple other videos to play. This next one we've shown something from them before. Galerie Martel. They are in Paris, so they've got a really big Chris Ware show that is happening next month. But this month they have something from an artist that I'm not familiar with them at all. Slavic artist from Croatia, and their name is Miroslav Sekulic Struha, and really unique artwork. And it's always good to see to open our minds and our views of the things that are out there. He's a graphic novelist. I think they called him he approaches these as graphic narratives. I guess he's both a writer and a painter. So he does everything with these pieces, and they're when he puts these together, I forget how many pages make up these books that he puts together, but I think it's like 170 pages of all painted artwork, and they're really rather large. So when I was emailing with Geller Martel when they were starting up some new ads, they had said that the opening was kind of happening when we were emailing, and I said, well, why don't you film the opening again? I think that they had sent us an opening video. I think it was a few months back, probably before the new year, definitely. But so they did do that, and so I'd like to show that for you now. There's a few photos that started off, and then the primary part of the video is actually the artist himself actually painting a mural that, if you remember the layout of their gallery, it's pretty narrow, so where they have kind of a bench height kind of sides to either end, and they've showed a lot of the art there and on the wall. But at the end of the whole hall, they have a large like a floating thing that they could hang art on. Well, that's what he did the painting on. So it's pretty cool. And so it was literally like I don't even know how long it was, because they had sped it up and it was about 10 minutes long. So I took those 10 minutes and condensed them even more down to 2 minutes. So you're going to get to see this mural get painted really, really quick. But it's really, really beautiful. And I will put a link in the chat if you'd like to learn more about this show, if you're in Paris, or just more about the creator themselves, because he seems to have a very interesting take on life and his artwork. So here we go. All right, so there you have it. Yeah, another. It's kind of cool to get to see something like that, and it's funny that we, with having Matt on earlier, I really think he should do something like that when he's working. I think that would be really cool to see his process and putting those tile pieces together. So yeah. So an interesting color palette, and most of his work kind of follows that same color palette and style. So I think again, I really appreciate it. I mean, as a storyteller, and I think it makes me curious. And there were actually he's done several. This is from one particular book called, I believe, Peter and Liza, and he's got several other books out there similar in size and whatnot. They're on Amazon. So if you do a search for his name, you can definitely find several other books by him that are out there and available and easy to pick up. So so there you have that one as well. Now, I wanted to go over and all that work is done in gouache, by the way, which is really, really hard to paint with. I mean, it's not an easy medium to work with. So I wanted to add that as well, because it's a tough, as any artists that are out there knows, gouache is not really easy to work on or work through. But so next up, quick things here on the show schedule. And as everybody knows, I announced the Comic Art Live dates, and then I had a Friday 30 minutes or less show, and then after I did that, I realized that the weekend I wanted to move the show to was Mother's Day weekend, which of course is not going to work. So I just want to throw out the upcoming art-related, very comic art focused shows that are out there. I'm not being paid to do this, but I think that it's worthwhile to be throwing these things out and reminding everybody about it. But I'll end it talking about what I decided to do with Comic Art Live, and why, and what weekend it's really going to happen on now, which is I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get to this point. But as everybody remembers from last week, I mentioned this comic art meeting that's happening in Rome. That is the weekend after next. I did email Max, and I asked him if he would be open to shooting some video and taking some photographs. I mean, I know it's Europe, so I know a lot of people probably don't want to be pictured, but I threw it out there anyway. Hopefully they'll be able to work out something. I think, it's really great that they're having a get together just to talk about the hobby, bringing, everybody's bringing art. We need to do more of these things. And so here's a really well organized event that is happening at, they've rented out a meeting room at a hotel. So, and it's a weekend thing. I think it's fantastic. More of us need to kind of approach the hobby that way and be, and just kind of initiate events like those. And I think that, as everybody knows, that's something I hope to be doing more of once I get down to Florida. So after that, February 27th is the new, what is it? It's called the SF Comic Art Show by Bashara. This is to complement his LA show as well. So that is just on Sunday afternoon on the 27th. Now, for my good friend Colin, whom I messed up the domain name in my email last week, wickedcomiccon.com. Their show is a single day on April 9th, and that's 10 to 7 p.m. They have a great artist guest list, so I would encourage everybody, if you're in the Boston area, to definitely check out that show. It's the first one, and if Colin's involved, it's going to be good. And then, of course, Comic Art Con. They don't have a decent-sized logo on their website, so I had to take this thing off their Facebook page. It's kind of looks like it's a T-shirt, right, wrapped around somebody. But that's what I got. Their show is on I believe that's Saturday, April 23rd. And that's in Secaucus, New Jersey. And the reason I was, flummoxed about the dates, of course, is because I initially wanted to move Comic Art Live away from the Megacon weekend. And so I tried moving it to the week before. That's when Tatiana let me know that that's Lake Como. And, I know Annabelle Kirby's going to be there and Tatiana's going to be there. And I, of course, want both of them involved in this show. Annabelle wasn't able to participate in our last show because of a show conflict. So I was like, well, that's why I couldn't do that. So I thought I'd move it to the weekend before, but of course, again, that's Mother's Day. So what I've kind of worked out is that mentioning Megacon first, because it is on it's Thursday through Sunday, the 19th and through the 22nd of May. I was emailing with them today, and I think what I've worked out, because remember, I wanted to do a panel. They asked me to do a panel last year, and I didn't want to do it because of COVID. So I offered, to do it this year. And so they said, yep. And what I've come up with is I'm actually going to have Comic Art Live this weekend as well. But I've agreed to do a Friday panel at the Megacon, and we'll work out the details and the time. So I know they're still fleshing out their their guest list. And again, this is with Kevin Boyd that I've been emailing with. But their Megacon's part of Fan Expo, and of course they've got a lot of shows throughout the year too. So I'm sure they're excited to have a whole full slate of shows coming out. But I will be a part of that one at least for an hour on that Friday, and I'll give you guys more details about that once I work that out with them. And then, so there you have it. We've decided to put Comic Art Live that same weekend, Saturday and Sunday, because I can't compete with Mother's Day, Lake Como, or Memorial Day weekend. So, and I'm not pushing it, I'm not going to move it any earlier into April or later into June. So we're sticking with the weekend that has been the weekend of Comic Art Live for the first, the first one and the third one, beginning in 2020. So we're gonna stick with that weekend, and that's it. I'm not gonna mess around with it, and we're going with that permanently. Now, finally, and I haven't been watching the chat. Sorry, I've been looking at a couple other things here while I'm talking. But this is the big one for a lot of us, the Heroes Con, that is June 24th through the 26th. Now, we've been talking about it for a while. This was originally going to be the first show I was going to go to. And so I guess I've lied, because I'm going to be going to Megacon now to do that panel. Probably won't even be doing a lot of walking around at that show, because I'll be prepping for Comic Art Live. But Heroes Con is going to be probably the event of the year in the States, at least for comic art collectors. And I know that Rob and George are working diligently on putting together a schedule for the entire show, but we're definitely planning on doing a comic art get together on Thursday night, June 23rd. There are sure to be music and drink. Someone, I'm sure, will be dancing in some weird way, but we are going to have a comic art gathering just for the fun of it. It'll be a relaxed something outside of the show, because obviously at Heroes, everybody really wants to be around the hotel on Friday and Saturday evening. So we really felt that doing something the night before everything really gets going is the best approach. So, if you're not familiar with Heroes, it really is one of the more popular shows out there for original art collectors. Baltimore, of course, ranks up there, as well as a few other cons out there as well. But Heroes has always been kind of a special one for a lot of people. So this is the one that's you don't want to miss. If you can go to it, you can get there. Even if you can't make the Thursday night get together, please show up, because we're all going to be there, and it's going to be a great time. I can't wait to hang out with everybody in person. And Scott, yep, it's going to be a phenomenal show. I cannot wait. It's going to be so great to be able to actually hang out with you guys in person for the first time in years, and many of you I've never met. So it's going to be a good time. No one better bring their pasties, but I can tell you, I do actually think that Anthony is actually going. I mean, and not because of us. I think that that's one of the shows that he does regularly, and he mentioned to me like a month ago that he was going. So, and I haven't said anything to him. I haven't been like, oh yeah, Anthony, you should come out and hang with us. But he would be more than welcome if he wanted to, I'm sure. But let's see. Am I coming to IX? I do hope to be going to IX this year. Now that I'll be in Florida, a little bit longer drive, but I do expect to go there. It's really one of my favorite shows. That, Tatiana. I love going to IX, so I do hope to go there. That's in mid-October, and Chris Snork says he's flying in on Thursday. So yeah, it's going to be a good time. Really, really good time. And Chuck's going to be there. I'm telling you, it's going to be a great show. If you want to hang out with original comic art collectors, that is definitely going to be the one. And I can't wait. And I've changed my plan. And I think you can still get rooms at the Westin, right? I was able to go in and add an extra day without any issues. So it was if you're going to do it, you might want to get in there soon, because it's going to be fun. And it's great for the show too. I mean, to bring this many collectors into one venue, I can't see how that's not a win-win for everybody, especially, the artists that are going to be there. I know, I don't think they have posted some of their lists. I know Ron Friends is going to be there. I believe Scott Kress from Catskill will also be set up there. Benno, I can't wait to see you. I've got to get you on one of these chats as well. You've been on like my list forever to shoot an email to, but you keep moving down it because other people kind of reach out to me. But I'd love to have you on a chat here on the channel sometime. And as Bootlegging just said, that the hotel rate at the Westin is incredibly cheap. I was a little bit surprised myself. So yeah, definitely, that's where you want to be, and that hotel is definitely affordable, very affordable. So I'm trying to read some of the stuff here, but all right, so that's that. Now, speaking of cons and schedules, I was given I think there was like 20 video clips from Marcus, because he was at a show this weekend, and so I kind of strung them all together, put a little music to it. And I appreciate Marcus doing this. This is his second one that he did for us, and it gives us a good feel for the show. And this was the East Bay show. I might have I've got the name right, but let me just go ahead and play that and enjoy it, because I mean, we're all going to be participating in cons one way or another in the near future. And again, Marcus, you just keep shooting these and sending me the clips, and I will keep putting these together whenever you have the opportunity to do that for me. So here we go, the East Bay Comic-Con from last weekend.
So what are your thoughts on the G.I. Joe 21 art selling for $312,000?
This is the first I've heard of it.
Really? It just sold in January, so for that much.
Sold in January for that much?
Yeah.
Wow. I had nobody told me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any thoughts on that or no?
Well, it's a lot more than I sold it for.
Really? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Got a whole bunch of, yeah, you know, a whole gang. Can you sign it with me?
I will, but since he didn't ink this, can I mark his name?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's in the first.
Oh, I know. He only gets to maybe two.
Yeah.
So I saw it when I got here.
We thought we'd get here early, but there was already a line.
VIPs, apparently.
If I could afford that, I would buy it.
Well, you know, everybody does things differently, and the thing is, I've had people get mine in the past, and I even have a private signing this week. And I explained to them, it's like, all right, well, if we're doing these, this is what you get. I'm going to go all the way back. The first thing I helped him out with doing layouts was My Little Pony project. He was working on that stuff, and it was the Equestria Girls. Tony had been working on the My Little Pony stuff for a while. It doesn't seem like it's been that long. It's crazy.
Hold it up, hold it up. All right, thank you, Bob.
So two bags, and then one big.
Yeah, it's like, why?
Take a picture with him? Jared? Back up. Come over here with me first. Come in.
No, we're just saying hi. All right. All right. Thank you.
Sorry, I duplicated that one little clip in there. I'm not sure how I did that, but no, great job as always, Marcus. The music was a little loud. I'm sorry. I thought I edited it down a little bit lower, but I must have had the volume on my editing equipment lower than I thought I had. But it was a little loud. But yeah, you saw a lot of people in there. You saw Brian Peck. He was in there, as was Steve Morger in the walkthrough. He had the prime location right next to the door, and there was Vess. Charles Vess was there. Bob Hall, Steve Lealoa, Art Adams, and Joyce Chin as well, of course, and Tone Rodriguez, Tony Fleece. So yeah, it was a decent show, it looked like. And Marcus, of course, was sporting the Dueling Dealer shirt. So that's always great to be out there representing that show in the public. And so I appreciate that. So yeah, Steve Morger is the best. That is very true, Nick. But which is why I would not have my show on the same weekend of a show that Steve was having. So and yeah, Felix was there. I'm sorry. Yes, I forgot. Felix was there. He's twice. He was in at the beginning with that photograph as well. So so there you have it. Thank you, Marcus. I appreciate it. And anybody else, when you're going out to a show, if you want to, give me some photos or shoot some video, ask a question of an artist or something. I thought that was really cool with Larry Hama, where Marcus asked him about that sale. about the from the GI Joe cover and everything, and he didn't even know that was that had ever happened. So I think that's fun, and I appreciate it, Marcus, immensely. So before we get to the CAF update, one thing I did want to let everybody know about was that I'm coming up to a point where I have to renew the SSLs and stuff on Comic Art Fans, and I always dread renewals. To me, it's almost easier to spend $5,000 on a new server and just go ahead and recreate new certs on IS box, because I hate it. It's one of the worst things I go through every time when I have to do that. And I know that that many of you have lamented the fact that many of the dealer sites are not running on HTTPS yet, but some are. And but I've always done it in a way that was never really. It works great. Like Tatiana, your site has been HTTPS for a very long time. But I use a different kind of outside service for that does some beneficial things for us. But I always wanted to kind of tackle it on my own. So I paid a consultant from Hawaii, believe it or not, to go through a few things with me and on server side stuff. Again, it's not where trust me, I don't want to be doing this. If I had the money, I'd have a tech guy in here doing these things for me. But he kind of showed me how to use Let's Encrypt and a few other tools that make that process really easy. So last weekend, I think I upgraded about 15 of the dealer sites to HTTPS, and I probably will be able to get the balance of them done this weekend too. But so Felix's website, go to it now. It's always going to redirect you to HTTPS. I remember, and it's funny, I think it was literally like 6 months ago, somebody said, Bill, when are you going to get Felix's site secured? And something in the chat, nobody else chimed in about it, but that one comment has stuck with me forever. So there you have it. I'm finally going to get all the dealer sites hosted on our servers compliant with that. And it's long overdue. I should have asked somebody and paid somebody to kind of help me out figure that out. So nope, not doing wildcard certs, Octavio. That's with Let's Encrypt, rather than having 2-year renewals, they do them actually every 3 months. And so, but it's kind of neat. It sets up a scheduled task that runs every morning, and it checks to see when the certs are going to expire, and it goes out and manually updates them on their own. So once it's first set up, it's really easy, and I'm kind of hands off. Apparently it will email me when it does the successful upgrades and updates on those. So yeah. And the thing is, it's a Microsoft thing. They don't make it easy they make it easy it's not even easy to add a cert, to be honest. But the thing that this guy gave me, I literally can add a cert in about 60 seconds. The only problem is once I add it, I do have to go back and load up the website, because certain things on the sites aren't all running. If it's hard coded to a non-secure image, for instance, the image will be broken. So every time when I upgraded Felix's site, I've got to load up his whole site in my editor, correct 3 or 4 things that are broken because of how they're linked to, and then re-upload it. So even though it's so quick to make the SSL, I then have to spend like 5 or 10 minutes double checking each dealer's website to make sure that it didn't break anything. I mean, I broke something in Felix's admin. I didn't know about it until he told me. I didn't even know it was there, and it all went back down to the fact that the site was properly secured. So, hey, Nick Terra, nice to see you here as well. But yeah, so that's the goal by end of the weekend, to have every dealer's site on our equipment 100% locked down as it should be. So, yep, exactly, Murdoch. You'd think if it's, Microsoft has had enough years to make that product sound, but it stinks. It really does, unfortunately. I mean, but we love it because that's what we write in. We do everything in, with Microsoft SQL and everything too. But managing servers has always been a problem. So that's big on my to-do list, and I'm glad that I'll be able to get it wrapped up this weekend. So finally, we're here at the CAF update. See, I told you there was so much going on. I had a lot of things sent to me this week, but I'd rather have more things to talk about and show off than not. So why don't we go ahead and jump into our CAF update. So this is going to cover the period of January 31st through February 6th. And it was a decent week for both auction houses and original art dealers, much more so for original art dealers than the auction houses. But so that's a good sign. I mean, I think we've always been seeing a lot of the sales shifting over to the art dealers. There was some kind of snafu in one of the bits of data that that was coming out of Mike's site. I asked him about it because I was over there this weekend. He didn't really give me a good answer. Somehow a piece of art that he had listed as sold the week before, somehow he managed to accidentally put it back to for sale and marked it sold again. We worked it out of the data. I forget what issue Colin had with it. He had there was an issue with like getting the image out of the report, which I'll probably go ahead and tackle for him. It's still in there as of today, but by and large, the dealers had a fantastic week. They sold just over $400,000 in original comic art, 401 to be exact, and that was just a little better than the week before, where they sold $396,000 in original comic art. So 2 back-to-back super solid weeks for dealers. Now, the little bit of a shakeup in the top sellers for the week, though. Panel page art was number 1 with 13 sales, and let's see, just under $110,000 in sales. Albert Moy, 10 sales, $81,000. Berkey, 32 sales, $80,000. Tatiana, 1 sale, $31,000. Congratulations, Tatiana. And we'll see that art in the little video clip we've got in a minute, because it was the top selling artwork for the week, I believe. And then next up, IX Gallery from the IX Art Show that Tatiana and I were talking about just a few minutes ago. 22 sales and 30,000 plus in income. And Anthony's next, 89 sales, just over $30,000 as well. So Anthony always wins in the total sales volume category. And then Will was next with 8 sales, 22,000, and Felix was rounding things out, 30 sales, $12,500. So, and I imagine Felix will probably be up near the top after the Brian O'Malley sellout that he had earlier this week. So let me go ahead and show off the top 6 selling items from original art dealers. So here we go. So the image is not where it should be on there. I'm going to have to yell at my son for that. But there you go, 401,000 in sales. This is a fantastic Michael Turner D-Tron piece, sold for $31,000, and Witchblade image, of course. So congratulations, Tatiana, and whoever the buyer was on that beauty. Next up, this is the cover to Red Sonja 15 by Dave Cockrum. The asking price on this one was $30,000, and it was sold by Glenn. Panel page art. And we've got a bit of I guess we should have blocked that one out a little bit. I didn't think about that, but this is by Frank Frazetta, sold by Albert Moy, and the asking price on that one was $28,000. And a Sam Keith Marvel Comics Presents cover. This is the cover to 101, very memorable piece of art, and this one sold for the asking price $27,500 by Glenn as well. And the final 2, this one's by Albert from Fantastic Four, issue 27, page 19. Artist, of course, Jack Kirby. And the asking price on this one was $25,000. And finally, from Will's comic art page, Will Gabrielle, asking price on this one was $18,000. And this was the, let's see, it was cover 99. It's got Green Lantern versus Green Arrow from 1977. And I'm not sure. Yeah, that's a... Why did he not list the title in that? Huh. Interesting. I'll have to double check that and update the market data. So there you go. So dealers had a very solid week. Auction houses had a rather normal week. This time around, they had $230,000 in sales as opposed to $337,000 in sales the week before. So dramatic drop. But honestly, sorry, looking at the chat now. Yeah. So, but that's 230, 250. That's more like the average around here for the auction houses. eBay actually made up the brunt of that with $131,000 in the sales there, 902 completed auctions. Heritage had 173 completed auctions and just under $100,000 in sales. So let's go take a look at the top selling items. And again, eBay. 2 of the top 3 sales from eBay were won on make offers, and I did get the actual data to back it up, so you know where it's at, what the original prices were, and what they actually sold for. So here we go. Like I said, $230,000 in sales with auction houses. First 3 items are from eBay. This is a Jaime Hernandez Love and Rockets number 20 page. Asking price was $8,500, but what did it sell for? $7,000. So once again, you can make offers just like on Dueling Dealers and get something for a lower price. Next up, this is a great Ghost Rider page from issue 32. Don Perlin pencils, Rick Bryant inks. This one was sold at auction for $2,154. And finally, this Jim Woodring Congress of the Animals from 2011 piece. The asking price on eBay was $2,100, and it actually sold for $1,500. So there you have it. You know, we only get the we don't get the proper price, but I'm giving them to you now. So these next three are from Heritage. First one, of course, is a Ron Lim piece from Silver Surfer 24, sold for $6,600. Next up is this Matt Baker Flamingo Daily comic strip from 1952, sold for $2,880. And the final piece is by Dennis Beauvoir from Aliens, I guess volume 2, issue 2, and this one sold for $2,880 as well. Classic Aliens lurking image there to round that out. So I don't know why those black pauses are in there. Again, I'm gonna have to talk to my son. So so there you have it. That was you know, where sales were at. I'm gonna keep, you know, looking at those make offers and looking them up for everybody, because I do think it's interesting. It's kind of back to the, you know, the dueling dealer model where you really gotta sometimes wait. I mean, I'd love to get a Hernandez Love and Rockets page, and so, you know, somebody went out there, what they got $1,500 off the asking price. So that's what, about I don't know, 16% drop. So it pays to make inquiries. I mean, I know a lot, you know, most sellers probably don't list the opportunity to do make offers over there, but clearly it's working out. The sorry, I'm looking at the chat again. Mark says Heritage needs to drop their buyer's premiums. A $6 sketch shouldn't cost $52, and that is true. That is that is one of the downsides to the buyer's premiums and everything. And probably, and I actually haven't bought anything from Heritage in a long time, but they probably have a minimum, right? And it must be around $46. So let's see, what's that? That one, okay, yeah, it's true. And it was a very good Hernandez page. I agree, Octavio. A little bit out of my price range, but again, you know, it pays to make inquiries. Let's see, what do we got there? They're usually, yep, you've got that right, Chuck. And I've been watching. So no shame, as Nick Patera points out, that he was raised going to garage sales and loves to haggle. That is not something that I have mastered yet. I actually hate to haggle, and I usually walk away from a piece rather than see if I can't get a better price on it. I've got to learn to change that, but you know, I know haggling doesn't work, like, you know, with certain people. You know, I know you can't haggle with Albert, for instance, but most dealers sort of expect it. So yeah, and you're right, Ron. I mean, if people are willing to pay it, then they're not going to drop it. I mean, that's been their business model for a long time, and that's true as well, Samuel. Heritage won't shift. I mean, but hey, you know, hopefully that $6 sketch, when you look at it, that you feel it was worth, you know, the $50 or whatnot, whatever the final price was on it, because I mean, it sounds like you got a good deal on it. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. So you guys are making fun. So let's see. Jason's going to teach me how to haggle. All right, Jason, I will hang out with you, and we will, you know, I will learn your ways, because yeah, it's just never been my thing. So, all right. Well, Chris Snork is in the green room. Let me get Chris here on the screen, and we can talk about our popular picks of the week. Hey, Chris.
Good evening.
It's nice to see you as always.
You too. Thanks.
Yeah. See, it's I had this weird feeling like it was going to take me almost 2 hours to get to this point, but I'm glad I was able to motor through all the different things we had to talk about this week.
I'm still planning to hustle. We're at the hour 35 mark.
Oh man. Well, I'll tell you, this was a difficult week. There was so much great artwork on CAF. I mean, I thought I was literally, if I had the time, I was contemplating doing 10 honorable mentions that I wanted to show off, because they're really, I mean, there were more than 10. I mean, I could have probably picked another 20 pieces that deserve to be shown off. And I mean, Mikhail, I don't think I picked a piece of art in Mikhail's collection, but he had some incredible pieces added this week. Yep. And you know, the list of people who are adding great artwork, it was just mammoth. I mean, I feel bad when we limit ourselves to 20 pieces. But
I'm actually I'm waiting for a week that it's like slow or like not too much, because I feel like ever since I've been doing this, it's a struggle to get down to 10.
right, it is. It really is. I mean, I had to go through a couple passes on, you know, the way I do it to get my 10, but it was because I could have kept it at around 20. It would have been it really, and not picking your pieces either. I mean, I saw those too. They were all great.
Yep.
But yeah. And here, before I missed this one, where was it? Oh, here you go. Ron Lim. Nope, wrong one. Here it is. I haggled with Albert last year and he dropped the price. I mean, Ron, I can't believe it.
I did it once too.
You did. Well, what the heck? He won't lower prices for me when I only tried once and I failed.
Ask Marcus if there's stuff that's been on his site long enough, he'll deal.
All right. Well, then that's probably the problem. The last couple pieces I picked up from him were newer.
He's not going to ship it for free, though. I don't care how much you beat him up.
Yeah, I did ask him for that too. No, so yeah, I can be his closest buddy when he needs something done on his website, but get free shipping or a small discount. Man, see, all right. I'm just, I love Albert though. He always makes me smile.
True. Eric got him down on a John Romita Jr. piece at C2E2 in March of 2022. Maybe he knew the pandemic was coming ahead of time.
Man, I'm disappointed in myself now. I've got to work Albert over. Maybe he just thinks I've got enough money and I can afford anything that I want to get from him. I don't know. Dang. Yeah, because I can, Albert, or not Albert, I mean, Anthony and Mike, I've got no problem, asking, can I get a better price on it? But yeah, Albert's, he's never been.
He does have a reputation to maintain, right?
He does. He went to the school of hard knocks when it comes to haggling. But, and Octavio said the Jedi mind trick also doesn't work on Albert. Yeah, I believe it. But, so, hey, why don't we get on to our popular picks, Chris? We got, again, it's a really good set. And again, anybody whose work isn't shown here that posted work last week, we both apologize because, again, we could have done, many more pieces than we did. But I think you're going to really like all of our selections this week. And let's see, get my shared screen here. And here we go. First up is this piece in Michael Close, CAF Gallery by Assad.
I don't think I've ever picked Assad before. I'm almost positive I haven't. And I know I've never picked a musical. I'm not going to say I know. I don't think I've ever picked a music-related item either. So I know we have a lot of music fans and musicians in the audience. So Tool is a band that I've loved for a long time. So this kind of convergence of one of my favorite bands with an amazing painter who works in our field, works in our hobby quite a bit, was just too amazing not to pick. That's not even touching on like how cool the color palette is and the composition, like the layout of the piece and everything. It's just it's killer.
I wanted to do this for you so we can see it all. Yeah, it was funny. I read the description without really looking at the art, and so I didn't know who the artist was. I just saw it was something for Tool, and then I looked at it and I'm like, God, that looks like Assad.
Mm-hmm.
and then it was. And I guess it's not something you would expect. I was figuring, oh, this is going to be the pick that Chris did by reading the title. I thought, oh, this is going to be the pick that Chris did that of an artist that he's not familiar with, or and so I was impressed that it's all pure Assad. It's beautiful. I mean, it could be an Eternals cover. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, the lighting, I mean, it's really nice. I mean, I was,
there's a ton of cool technique on display. I mean, like he's really, he's stretching his limbs here artistically.
Agreed. And Tool drool from Rick. Yeah, exactly. But no, this was really nice and a nice surprise. So needs a little dental work, I guess. But yeah, no, this was great, and congratulations to Michael for adding that to his collection and posting it on CAF for us all to appreciate. So here we go. And who is the owner on this? Oh, Nick Bruce. Okay, yeah. So this is a really nice piece by Fabak, and wow, this is Wait a minute. I want to make sure I got it right. Cover to Batman Fear State Alpha #1. All right.
Yeah,
wow, this is really nice.
The title's a mouthful. Yeah. So Jay comes from the, obviously the like David Finch kind of by way of Jim Lee school of Batman art. So there's nothing wrong with that by any means. I actually picked this because it's extremely busy. There's so much detail, but the figures still pop, and that really creepy scarecrow design in the background works nicely to kind of like, I don't know, wash out the detail almost a little bit and like give your eyes a break.
Right. No, this is really awesome. I mean, I know that let me see, let me go over here. So I know his work is really sought after right now. Collectors are, climbing over themselves to pick up work by him. So, I mean,
I've heard like contradictory reports that he's like more digital than traditional now too. So that's not going to help.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, I mean, what are you going to do? Right. I mean,
yeah,
everybody's trying to,
I get it.
Yeah. But no, this is a great. I actually would have picked this piece when I was scrolling through. This was one of the ones that I had set aside before I checked your list. And so no, this is a good one. And yeah. And Nick should be very happy to have that in their collection. Let's see. Next up, Adam Gorham, a Godzilla piece.
Yeah, this was just so, man, I love the inking technique that he's using here. And I'm almost positive there's airbrush in here. I think he uses a little airbrush, which is like, kind of in this era where everybody's doing that stuff digitally. That's just awesome to see. I love it. The whites, there's especially Godzilla's eyes, such a cool effect he got on Godzilla's eyes. The like atomic smoke from his mouth. I mean, there's just nothing about this I don't like. I think it's killer top to bottom.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I love the waves. I mean, they're, you could cut corners on that, but there's almost, you could almost say there's more details in the waves down there than in any place else on the art. But yeah,
they're also kind of like one of those traditional Japanese paintings.
Yeah, without question. Yeah, that's really it's a great piece, and I did not see this one. So when I was setting up your picks today, I was like, dang, that is a really nice
cool
image of Godzilla, because I love the classics, right? I like a Bob Eggleton painted Godzilla. I've always liked, because it feels very traditional from the 50s or something. But this is really nicely done.
I think Cam mentioned when he was on last night that Adam Gorham just finished a Godzilla book, so maybe this is part of that. I'm not sure.
Let's see. Does it have anything in the description?
I had the feeling that it was a commission, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, and he says that that Adam did like a digital coloring on the piece as well. Oh, look, see, it lost all the detail in the piece, in the water anyway. Well, it's why we love the black and white. All right, let me get my like on that one. There we go. All right, well, great pick. Now, this one I saw, and Ryan Sook, of course, this is in our editor's CAF gallery, Colin Sullivan.
Oh, this is Colin's?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Colin, I didn't notice that.
But and I don't know if Colin's in here right now, but this was the thing that you got from Comic Art Live, right? Wasn't there an opportunity I think we gave away. There were 3 opportunities to get a Ryan Sook commission.
Yeah, he says in the description.
Oh, did he? I didn't even read it, but that's great then. See, that Comic Art Live, it's producing great art for people. But this is such a wonderful image. Ryan, I mean, I'm sorry, this is your piece. You should be talking about it. But I have always loved Ryan's ink, the inking work. There's just something. It's lush. It's beautiful. I mean, you can say that. I mean, there's other artists I could look at and say it's similar to, but it's very, very much his own style. And this is just. I mean, I haven't seen Chewbacca look this good before.
Yeah, his hair's bouncing and behaving.
Exactly.
The textures that he achieves in Chewbacca's fur alone are worth marveling at. Let alone, all the cool stuff that's going on in the background with the streaking X-wings and the speed lines and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, this is an awesome commission. Yeah,
no, I agree. This is, I'm sure Colin was very happy when he got this one. I mean, I like Star Wars. So I don't love it, but I would be happy to have this in my collection.
I was kind of thinking, I mean, Chewbacca for this artist is, I wouldn't have gone there. Like I never would have thought of that, but man, look at the result.
Yeah. Eric Wenger says it's a Pantene Chewbacca commercial. Yeah, exactly. His hair still looks great doing all that battling. And yep, we all agree, Jason, that it's a great image. So congratulations to Colin for picking that one up. I mean, that's great. That's when a commission goes really right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's see this Darrington piece. And Batman Universe, Jonah Hex. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, what do you say about Nick Darrington?
Yeah. Wow, this is great.
So, obviously, I think his strength is his use of line weight. A lot of it's uniform and is super clean, but then when it's not, it really stands out. So like Vandal Savage's facial hair, his eyebrows, just tremendous. But, if I'm being honest, aside from Nick Darrington being a beast, I picked it because of that bottom panel with Jonah Hex in it.
Oh, yeah. No, I was going to say.
Fanboy.
I was gonna. For me, the bottom panel is it too. I mean, you could just have that, but the rest of the page is beautiful too. But I love that bottom panel.
Yep.
Man. Well, that's a good one. Yeah, and Darrington, you can't go wrong with adding.
He's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been in this. I actually can't. Well, no, I don't actually think I've been in this guy's gallery before. Hunter Venable. I'll have to.
I think Hunter had commented. I think he's been around quite a while. Is there a join date?
Yeah, 2008. That's why.
Yeah, he has commented on pieces from my gallery from way back in the day. So the name was familiar, but I'm not sure I've seen anything recently that really blew up like this one. This was just a great piece. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I've opened another window with his CAF. I'm going to check out his gallery after it's over. But he seems to be very active in the last week. Posted 13 pieces to his CAF. So.
Awesome.
Yep. All right. So we got that one liked. And this is a beauty, of course, in Dermot's collection. This is Hellboy Wake the Devil 4 cover by Mr. Mignola. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, that's
you
beautiful.
You don't like assess Mike Mignola art, really, do you? You just kind of like sit back and enjoy the ride. This is I know I've talked about this before, but this is my favorite period of his work and my favorite period of Hellboy, which is, I'm sure, not a coincidence. But man alive, this thing is just insane. And I can't believe it's kind of odd to me based on the fact that I think it's from 96 that it kind of just surfaced on CAF. Maybe it had been on before, but I hadn't noticed it. So that was really what was so cool to me. It was like, blam, all of a sudden there's a 1996 Hellboy cover got posted this week.
Yeah, no, this is a beauty. I mean, you're right. It's like how you can't. There's not a whole lot you can say about it other than it's Mike at his finest. I mean, and let me see, what did you? 96. So a nice early piece. I mean, really when. I think a lot of purists probably prefer this, these earlier pieces of Hellboy than the later stuff. But
what I like about it is it's still got. I mean, he's still got all the design sensibility, right? Like the way the figures are put over top of that black element in the background, and like the bone, the fish skeleton or snake skeleton or whatever that is that's coming down, and the little tentacle creatures that are coming up. So like all the design elements that he still works with and still uses are here. But my 2 cents is that Hellboy is better illustrated. I won't say better drawn, but he's more rendered. Mm-hmm. So that's what I like about it anyway.
No, I do too. I mean, I think that's kind of what the distinction I was trying to make, like between the earlier period of Hellboy to where to maybe the later stuff where it's a little bit looser. Here you still have a feel that this looks like his late Marvel work, right? I mean, that you still see some of that in this, and definitely his style became a little bit looser over time. But I don't know. And it may be because of my love for his work on Marvel. When I see a piece like this, I'm like, this is the Hellboy period that I like the most, just because I still see that that late Marvel work, a lot of because he did a lot of those X-Men related book covers that I always really dug, because his approach on those was so unique. And I owned one once and I got rid of it, and it wasn't even it wasn't even the mini golf's fault, believe it or not. I won't even tell you guys who ended up with the cover, because you'd hate me forever. But I can't even remember which one it was, but I remember it was like all the X-Men defeated, on the ground, and I think it had the blob on it. I mean,
Bill,
somebody's gonna remind me of that one, but I owned that for like 3 years, and I traded it for something else. I should never that I sold to the mini golf, to support that. But man, was that a beautiful cover in my collection. I'm tearing up right now.
Oh man, Jason just gave you a come on, Bill.
All right, Scott Wingo got it. Yes, I traded it to but you know what I got? I'll tell you what I got, a really, really great John Byrne X-Men page. But I have, that's one of those regrets that, because again, the mini golf, it was, and the Byrne piece, of course, I sold for the mini golf. But for whatever dumb reason, I really wanted the Byrne page. I can't remember what it was because I sold it. But I'd love to have that cover back, because I think Cool Lines got something else out of me too that wasn't, that might have been as equally nice. But yeah.
There's some dolphin emojis in the.
Yeah. Jeff. Sorry. Yeah, Jeff. I think it was an X-Men Classic cover, because remember he had Mike did a series of maybe 10. So I should dig through there and just look at it so I can cry myself to sleep tonight to remind myself which one that was. But
we don't dwell on those, Bill. Right? Isn't that what we've told ourselves?
We have, but. Yeah, you can't get those back. I mean, especially today, you look at things. That's something that not many people will get to own. And
my heart goes out to you. I don't. Yeah,
I'm crying inside right now, everybody.
Sorry, buddy.
So, Comic Art Boston, I believe Comic Art B is, and this is a great Detective Comics piece by Dick Sprang.
Yeah, you don't see Dick Sprang art come up anymore, like really almost at all. I can't remember the last, and certainly, I mean, this quality, come on. This has literally everything you could want in a Dick Sprang Batman piece and then some.
Yeah, when I saw this, I almost made this the show thumbnail because I loved it so much.
It's incredible.
I went with the golden instead, but yeah, no, this is just an amazing image. And I mean, if you're right, you don't see a lot of Dick Sprang artwork on the market, and this you're right, it has literally everything in it you could possibly hope for classic Batman and Robin images. So wow, hats off to Comic Art B for picking this one up.
The thing I think I like the most about it is how much a product of its time it is. I mean, you see this, who did it, when it came from, like when Batman looked like that and Robin looked like that. Like it's just, it's emblematic of that era.
Man. Yep. No, I agree. This is a keeper for sure. So, and I would have picked this one as well. So, good choice on that one. And congrats to Comic Art B for adding it to their collection and sharing it with us all on CAF. All right. So the Guy Davis, I don't think we've really, featured too many pieces by Guy Davis, but this is a cool Sandman Mystery Theater piece from, let's see, what was it, 99? And it's, what was the gallery owner? Don Emery. Oh, okay, great.
I wasn't a big fan of Guy Davis back in the day. He's somebody who grew on me. So Sandman Mystery Theater was coming out when I worked at a comic store, and I kind of, I think I've mentioned on the show already, I wasn't the biggest Sandman fan. So I unfortunately sort of lumped Sandman Mystery Theater in with that, I think unfairly, because it was also coming out from Vertigo and also had Sandman on the cover. In spite of the fact that I was aware of Wesley Dodds from Starman and JSA and, things like that. But I actually, not long after the series ended, I went back through and read it and really became enamored with Guy Davis. So this is like a, I don't know. It's a comment to me, I guess, on how you may warm up to like Kirby or, whatever. You may not like Kirby at first, but I feel like Guy Davis is in that same camp of like, the more you look at it, the more you appreciate it, the more you understand what he's doing, and the more you see the skill and the technique that's involved in what he does and how he does it.
Yeah, I love the the pencil and the ink work on this, and it's a really nice approach to this piece that we don't really see something like this too often. And was the published piece included here? Not that it really matters. We always like the black and white better, but yeah, I love the whole imagery. I love the kind of this is like when you get here, it's like a classic war poster of some kind, right? I mean, just everything about it breathes history, and it's beautiful. And I love these characters, the way they're rendered here.
Yeah, they almost look like a cutout or a paste up, but they're not.
Yeah.
But the effect works like that. It's cool.
Yeah, wow. No, good pick. This one was one that I also didn't see until I got your list, so I appreciate that. All right, 2 more here. Now this is the image that I used on the cover, and it's in Duke Fleet's collection. Congratulations, Duke, for this. And #1 Gru fan, as his he's also got in his gallery title.
He changed his name. I had no idea that this was his until I started reading the comments. I probably wouldn't have picked it if I knew it was his.
Oh, come on.
Kidding, of course. No, this was a no-brainer for me to pick. This is actually if you take Mike Zeck out of the running, this might be my favorite Punisher cover ever. This one just this hits home for me in a lot of ways.
No, I agree. I mean, when I saw this, like I said, I had the Dick Sprang image all queued up, ready to go, and then I was browsing through, and I came across this one, and I was like, man, this is the featured image on the show tonight. But I agree. I mean, it's a classic image, and just see, I like having the big scans, and then sometimes I want to be able to just take in the whole cover. But I just love the silhouette of the fire escape around him. I mean, everything about it. I mean, it's just so well laid out. It's classic golden period. As far as how he's handling the shading in the bottom of the coat, and in the legs, and in the I guess the
like we talked about with Cam, the technical aptitude that he shows on drawing the weapons is top notch. He's maybe the best at that.
Yep. No, I completely agree. Marcus is always keeping the chat in stitches. Thank you very much. Pearls. Yeah. But no, this is a great. I mean, I love Michael Golden's work from this period. I mean, and this is a beauty. And I love that, again, the light. I mean, in between his hands, I mean, it's all bright.
Oh yeah.
You got a heavily shaded, forearm up to his shoulder. I mean, he's just putting in the extra work here. I mean, that one gun is just a light reference.
Suggestions
there.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't need it. And it's what makes the image even cooler is, he put all that extra effort in there. I mean, in a weird way, today we might not do it. He could render it fully and then let somebody touch it all up in Photoshop when they color it or something.
Well, and cool too that when you look at the rest of the piece, honestly, look at how little detail there is in the rest. The rest of it's really graphic.
Yeah. It's all just to draw you in. No, this is great. And I look at that perspective on on the fire escape above him, behind the logo and everything. It's just a unique approach to it. That lovely angle, great draftsmanship from Michael on this one, and a great pick. And congratulations to Duke.
For sure. Nice pickup, Duke.
All right, got my like on that one. And finally, a Batman Beyond Neo Year #1 cover in the collection of Jason Tolliver by Jim Chung.
If you blow this up, it absolutely falls apart. So I apologize for that. I actually messaged Jason and said, is there any way you have a better image of this? Because I want to pick it so bad, and I'm not sure I can. And he messaged back and said, I tried to take a better photo, but wasn't able to. So this is kind of like what you see is what you get. But man alive, is this a good cover?
It really is. You're right. I mean, it would be so much nicer to have something about double the size of this. it's
especially Jim Chung, because I mean he's noodling the hell out of this thing. I mean, there's detail stacked on detail.
Yeah, it's well, it's unfortunate, but it's a great Batman Beyond image without question. I mean, everything down there, the silhouettes at the bottom. I mean, it's just beautifully put together. I mean, everything about it, the perspective, everything's a little off kilter.
Yep.
It's yeah. I mean, I got nothing bad to say about this image whatsoever. It's beautiful.
No, I mean, if I were, this is like if you Google Batman Beyond cover, this should be what comes up. Like who's ever done this better?
Yeah, no, nobody. I love Jim's work. I mean, he's amazing. Wow, you're right. We need a bigger scan for that one.
Yeah.
But Jason's not premium. That's what might be why. Maybe he has a bigger scan, and it's this probably only 800.
No, he told me he didn't have a scanner.
Oh,
yeah,
so okay.
I know.
Well.
I was like, send it to me. I'll scan it.
Right. Well, that probably won't happen. But if you live nearby,
yeah.
And there you go. And
Mel, totally. Yes. The angle on the figure sells the whole thing.
Yep. And I agree with Rich. I mean, when I first looked at it, I looked at that car in the lower right and thought Blade Runner. Yep. You got it. And as Eric said, the hands alone. It's true. I mean, sometimes that's all you need to make something a really classic image. And you're right.
Yeah.
It's
sorry, I tried to go fast and I think I failed.
No, you didn't fail at all. Somebody, where was it? Somebody was already oh, there you go. Mr. Halbert said, "Great."
Thank you, Halbert.
Yes, indeed. All right, so we get my 10 picks now, but great as always, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I will say we've got Larry lined up for the first Thursday in March as a guest selector, and then I've got Eric Wenger in April, first Thursday in April. So I've got those booked as well. See, we're getting everything booked out 6 weeks in advance around here now. And I still am just really doing it in Notepad, basically, as far as keeping these together. I'm going to have to really start using one of my calendar apps because I've got a lot of guest appearances coming up too on the CAF updates to start the show. Because Comic Connect's got an auction starting. They've asked to be on, and the Hakes are going to be on. And yeah, I don't want to double book.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Let me get my my selections here. Stop that screen and start the next one. And come on. There we go. All right. So Marcus, I get to start off with a piece in Marcus's collection, because two characters that always pair well together are Nightcrawler and Spider-Man. So let me get the like on here first. This is by Marshall Rogers, but who doesn't love a circus scene? But then you throw in Nightcrawler, of course, who has a bit of circus in him as well, and you get Spider-Man, and it's just a very fun cover. And honestly, I don't feel like I've really featured too much by Marshall Rogers before either. And it's almost criminal when I think about it for all the the work of his that is out there. So yeah, I just love this image. Looks like Nightcrawler and Spidey are having fun. I love the detail in it. I mean, it looks like the pen work, the brushwork here is just really nice. And again, I mean, it made me smile when I saw the cover, just partially because of the circus, but partially because of the these two characters that belong together in comics. I think Nightcrawler and Spider-Man. So This was a Marvel Tales cover. So did you see this one, Chris?
I knew there was no way that you weren't going to pick this. I let it go by. I was like, this was Bill's for sure.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, I couldn't pass it up, but a great image. Congratulations, Marcus. You've got, Marcus has an incredible collection, and we're slowly getting to see more and more from it. So,
more of Marcus.
That is true. That is very true. And, we actually have all the trophies ready to go. And I had a special order some boxes. I wanted to kind of get, a good size that I felt would work with the trophies. So I'm hoping to be able to make a post office run tomorrow and start sending those out. So I look forward to, like I said, seeing some people take pictures of where they end up putting them, whether it's on their desk or who cares where you put it. Take a picture of it and send it to me. I want to see where these things end up. Okay, so I got my like on that one. And then again, Dino, another person who won a trophy. But this is, just an absolutely beautiful image by Sal Buscema and Mike Esposito, Submariner cover. Got Red Raven in it. I mean, look at as much as I love the characters, I love the background even more. I love the perspectives. Right. I mean, it's talk about this, we were talking about puzzle pieces earlier. I mean, this is like crazy when you look at it. How are all these buildings existing in here? Because they're not all going in the same direction. They're twisting and turning. And again, it's just absolutely amazing. I mean, I love everything about it. I mean, and I love the dynamic of the two characters. I mean, they're both practically horizontal, which is not something that you would normally see. Everything's supposed to be striking and in your face, and here you've got two characters that are basically at a moment where they're not really being dynamic. I mean, Submariner is just like he's in somebody's control and he's losing control, and he just seems at a moment of no strength. I mean, that's just not some right, exactly. And it's just like not something that you think you would see on a comic book cover, because you're always looking for that classic. Today it's all about the classic pose movie poster kind of approach to a lot of covers. But here it's really doing a lot. It's a storytelling, that you just don't normally see. And again, how often do you get to see characters talking on covers anymore? But here, this is like a whole story wrapped into the cover. So it makes you want to see what in the heck is going on here. So just from a period piece, and the fact that it has all of that, that going into it, where it really is telling a part of the story. And Red Raven, of course, is an important character. I mean, and I think Dino, if I'm not mistaken, kind of did some extra legwork in here, and mentioned, he mentioned, speaking of Mile High, Red Raven #1 from 1940 is significant as Jack Kirby's first book for Timely, the precursor, of course, to Marvel Comics. And he had that image in there as well, and so he showed that here. So again, Dino kind of went that extra mile to include the cover as well. And where was the other image here too? Which it's gigantic. Sorry, I guess I probably shouldn't have shown that one here, but definitely you should check this one out. It's a photograph of Chuck Krasinski loving Red Raven. But again, wonderful cover for so many reasons. And Dino, your collection just keeps getting richer and richer with the wonderful pieces in it. And I'm so happy you ended up with this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Great pickup, Dino.
All right. Now, here we go. Ryan Otley and Cliff Rathburn piece. Let me go ahead and like this one before we get too far.
I missed this.
This one was one of the last pieces I picked. I was having a hard time coming up with my number 10 while I was going through all those honorable mentions and whatnot. And when I saw this one, I love the way the page is laid out, the approach to the 3 panels at the top, the 2 really narrow panels, and then in the middle, and then the skull crushing final piece. But everything about it's inked so very well. I mean, my favorite panel in all of this is actually the one right here, where he's got
me too,
the head in the hands. There's so much action in not just you've got the action lines around it, but there's so much action in the physical, in the musculature of the arms, without even really doing any detail. This guy is not gonna survive the end of this page, and clearly he does not. But it's lovely. And even that the next image, I don't get it. I mean, I'm looking at it. That's an approach to inking and drawing a character that I don't think I've seen or I don't see too often in comics. I mean, I don't understand the teeth. I don't understand the horizontal line work that's going in there. But I love the fact that the character is not, there's no outline for the shoulders or around the head. I love the fact that the line work, the vertical line work, kind of makes all that up, and it's just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's like it's radiating heat or energy, or it's a great effect.
Right. And clearly it must be. I mean, I'm looking at the image up here, because I don't know the story at all, but yeah, it's just it's beautiful. So
very cool.
I'm glad I found one that you didn't know or see.
Is there a color image?
Let's find out. Kelsey S. Oh, yes. Okay, let's take a look.
Oh, there we go. Oh, so yeah, it looks cool. That ink effect looks cool colored too.
Oh, yeah, that really does. See, we don't say that too often, but in this case, man, wow, that is amazing. And look at even in the teeth. So there you go. That's it's funny that the two things I picked up on in the black and white. Yeah, that's great.
Very cool.
Wow. And yep, violent to the end.
He joins Diane.
That's right. Someone is so here you go. Otley pencils as well. Oh wow.
Cool.
This is okay. So this is I wish we could have had. If I would have thought of it, I would have made a slide and we could have put these side by side to look at them. Very nice. So Rathbun really followed Otley's direction on as far as the how he wanted to approach.
But also, I mean, there's a good deal of embellishment there, especially in the panel right above the bottom. I mean, he really went after that effect. So cool.
Man, well, this is great. Oh man, yeah. Well, wow. Congratulations to let me see. I already got the like on there to Kelsey S.
Nice,
very nice pickup. All right, so this was in John Paul's collection, and John Paul has an amazing CAF gallery. If you haven't checked that out before, Jack Kirby, Joe Sinnott, FF83 page from 1969. And this one, I just love. Well, there's a lot of things I love about it, but I mean the flowing hair, the way it's inked. You look at that third panel. I mean, the hair is alive in that one.
Yeah.
I can look at the panel before that, and it's kind of static, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you move over to that one, and everything it's just so fluid and flowing. I mean, I feel motion in it, and and I'm sure that's a lot. Joe's inking in this, and because he's such a beautiful inker. But yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot of I don't know, it's just lively. And so when I just looking at this, I had to pick it because it's not really there's no. It's not like there's Ben in this at all, or Reed or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I just as a let me actually go in detail here, but yeah, just love it. Classic Kirby for many reasons, but I love the image and I wanted to feature it.
Great scan. I mean, look out! That's a tight scan. That looks great.
Yep.
And I mean, that bottom panel with Crystal. I mean, that's like quintessential female Kirby. Like that's pretty much how you'd want that to go. And I was the panel with Medusa where she's undoing her handcuffs. I think Medusa is almost coolest when her hair is like creepy.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's real weird, and that's definitely happening in that third panel.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love it. And you can't go wrong with Kirby Sinnott pretty much on
right.
any title when you put the two of them together. But yeah, this is just great. And it's funny, I didn't notice the characters there. I didn't see Black Bolt. I don't know why.
Black Bolt for sure. Triton.
Right. I was so focused on Medusa that I really, when I looked at the page, I just didn't even notice them because I was just looking at the hair and the inking, and that's
Isn't it cool though how wedged in the corner, the side of that panel she is?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Like her hair is like a framing device almost.
Yeah. Wow. I'll see. I'm not going to look at it in color, but wonderful pickup by John Paul.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Andy Kubert, this was a Detective Comics wraparound cover. And, we tend to feature a lot of the Kubert's work, but I really like this one. It's just because of the detail on the city behind it. And I zoom into it and it's too big. I really got to just stay on this thing. But, I love the framing. I love the light behind Batman on the bricks and the way that it basically takes the bricks away on it. That his shadow is really giving you the detail there. That tells me that Andy is really thinking a lot about the imagery and how he's going to frame the characters. And I just really thought that was really, really dynamic. And again, just I can't say I've even really featured too many wraparound covers either. But again, I really like the background in this as well. And just lots of great details in it. And what more can I say? He draws a really nice Batman.
Mm-hmm. definitely.
So, David Bixler. Sorry, David, I should have said that right at the beginning to let you know, to confirm that this was in your collection. Great pickup. David's in one of the chat groups I'm in, and yeah, you've got a great collection and a great addition to your CAF. And this was an interesting one because I'm very familiar with Sean Andrew Murray's work, and this is in Fish's collection, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, Fish. As Fish kind of said, Fish, it's not a deer like we've talked about before, but Sean is an artist that I don't think he's actually ever been to the IX show that I go to in Pennsylvania, but he has set up at San Diego several times, usually near Artist Alley. But he's a phenomenal talent. He's as a penciler, his work is really hyper detailed, and he's been working on this particular project for a very long time, which is, you know, a lot of people in this kind of genre, they like to do their own world building, and Sean has been working on this project for a number of years, and it's just like this you know, really crazy cool city. But the detail in his penciling is just phenomenal. And then when he colors the pieces, you know, he's just got an amazing palette. And I think that the color piece is shown here as well. Yeah, I'll just pull that up so you can see it. I mean, he's phenomenal.
Wow.
I mean, look at that. I mean, he's because he uses a lot of these, you know, gold to, you know, brown tones, and gets so much out of it. And then he'll usually always throw in one of these, you know, these crazy aquamarine blues.
Sure, blue. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And he's just got an eye, you know, for color, and he's just an amazing draftsman. So if you've never seen, you know, his work is out there, and it's actually fairly affordable. But yeah, I mean, look at that. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I stared at the pencils for a very long time. I left a comment here for Fish because I thought it was really cool to see him, you know, branch out a little bit. This isn't something that I would think he would pick up. So I thought that was really cool just on its own.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, gently used skulls up there. I didn't notice that when I was looking at it before. But again, Sean is he's a really nice guy. He's got and he's incredibly talented. And again, there's his name right there. Google him. Check out more of his work, because he's really, really great. And I think he's got a few books out there based on this world building concept that he's been working on for a while. So you know, definitely. I know I have one of his books on my bookshelf behind me. I should have pulled that out. So all right, I got a few more pieces here. This is by Joshua Cassara, Null the Symbiote, of course, and this is in Bill Bannock's collection. This is as big as it gets, unfortunately, but you know, I just, you know, I love the layout. And kind of after talking with Cameron the other day, I was like, you know, just thinking about his you know, his artists and everything, and I saw this piece and I'm like, yeah, that's cool. You know, I really like the use of color. You know, the use of, you know, the red on the sword and on the symbiote image on the chest. So just like the approach to this, you know, after I was, you know, got done ogling over the whole work on the main character, I was happy to see the surfer, you know, image in the back. Yeah, because I saw that last, and those are things in artworks that, you know, I love those little surprises. Mm-hmm. Just like I was just surprised that the Inhumans were actually on that page. but that was my experience when looking at this image. You know, I love the way the character was drawn. I even looked at the figures below it, you know, before that, and then to come across the surfer at the end of appreciating this piece just made me appreciate it even more. So yeah, just love everything about it. The tonal quality and the whole piece is just really done well. Mm-hmm. And you know, even the subtle use of color with the red doesn't bother me at all. I think it really makes it, you know, a more dramatic piece.
I really like how he the elements on Null, like his armor, really they appear separate. You know, he did the dimensionality on those is awesome. I agree. Cassara he's tremendous. He's one of those artists where, like, people who've seen my gallery probably know I try pretty hard to stick to like the two like main flavors that I collect. Cassara hasn't done anything that falls into one of those flavors yet, but he's one of those artists where I'm like, maybe I don't care. Maybe I'll just get something because I think he's great.
Well, I'm honestly not very familiar with his work, which is, I'm sorry to say. So I've just I pulled up a search so I can do a little research after we're done here at the show. But no, I love it. I love it. Let me, okay, I've got 3 more pieces here, but congratulations to Bill for that pickup. And this is in Bob Fish's collection, Matthias Bergara. I might probably butchered that.
Matthias, but you got the
Matthias.
Last, it is Bergara, yeah.
Bergara. All right, Matthias. I'm sorry. Long day here, but love this image because you know what? The color palette more than anything. I love the layout of the way the characters are constructed in here, but I kind of like the washed out feel of the colors on Batman and Robin, even in the background. At the end of the day, I just thought it was a really unique set of colors on the piece. So I really picked it initially because of those versus the characters. And then I got drawn into the characters. I mean, Batman's got some, the biggest shoulders I've ever seen in here.
DKR.
But it works, it works great. And it's smooth. There's not a lot of heavy detail in the characters themselves, but they don't need it. I really, I love it. And I really just love the construction of the page as far as the way the characters are posed. I mean, it's just perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, he's tremendous. There's so much lightness to these pieces, there's so much character in them too. He really brings a ton of character to, I mean, he didn't have to have Carrie with headphones on and whatever, but it brings something extra, it adds to the piece so much. And like you said, I mean, Bruce here it's DKR Bruce, so he's thick and hulking and brooding, and he's got a rifle. Yeah, I mean, this is wonderful.
I love it, Matthias. I'm never going to make that mistake again. So congratulations to Bob Fish on that one. All right, 2 more here. First is Michael Hosey's got this Spider-Woman 39 cover by Steve Leialoha, and Michael is not a premium member, so the image is small. But Michael's a big collector of Spider-Woman art, as you probably know if you've been in his CAF before. So I wish this was a bigger scan, but yeah, I'll take it. For me, this was, does he have the color piece here too? No, we don't have to show that, but everybody would probably, who's collected comics for a while, has seen this cover. This is the one where it's got the red background. So you don't need the outline of her figure because it just all bled together in the background.
Yeah.
And it was just, I remember seeing that cover and just being blown away at the concept of that. And so seeing the black and white piece here, makes me appreciate it even more that, that you don't need those lines in this image to really, to make it, to define the character. And I don't know, I always, Leialoha is somebody who I've always admired, and I've never seen a piece that there's just not a lot of his art on the market, and just, I don't know, this piece is just great. And it reminds me of things.
The strongest thing here is the design. I mean, this is to your point about the coloring, but this is almost like proto Dave Johnson stuff, the ironwork in the background and the simple shadowed figures, and the fact that her costume is part of the color of the background. Yeah, this is great. This is a good pick.
Yeah, no, I've always admired this cover, and so yeah, you're right. It's very well designed, and yeah, I'm jealous. I'm very, very jealous. But again, it's why are we drawn to so many pieces where you've got a lot of silhouettes and whatnot that kind of make things, but I think really make the piece stronger. I like that design sense. I mean, you look back on the Michael Golden cover, and I don't know. There's a theme going on in our picks, I think.
Well, it's the cover of a book, right? I mean, in this case, first and foremost, it's the cover of a book, and so there's got to be. There doesn't have to be, but hopefully there's a good design sensibility behind it, because it's got to be eye catching. It's got to be you got to be able to discern what's on there quickly, as you're walking past it on a shelf. So, I think there's good reason that there's some commonality.
Everybody's speculating on the villains. I don't think they're
Those
black
Venoms.
and or black costume Spideys, but yeah, I believe they are ninjas. But yes, wonderful piece, and congratulations to Michael for adding another piece of Spider-Woman art to his wonderful collection. So finally, I'm rounding this out with a Gary Frank piece. I love the detail Gary puts into his works, and this is just like such a classic kind of. What to do my like here. So Brad Anderson inks, Justice League Incarnate #3 cover. I don't know. Yeah, I always love those images where you're throwing the characters in the villain's hand, and just for effect to make something fun. I saw this image, and it's just reminded me of a lot of different comic book covers of the past where they just make the the villain just large, like a Kirby like a Doom cover, right? Where it's just exaggerated just for the effect to show the power of the character. So as much as I love the right. So as much as I love the detail in this piece, I mean, I just love the approach to it because I like that classic storytelling on a cover, and this one just kind of hit me where I needed it to just love this image, and so yeah, Gary Frank, and Gary's a great guy. Gary was actually one of the first people that sent me a gift after I've been doing these things. He sent me a sketch in the mail, and I was like, dang, that's just so cool. And he was just cool. He was just thanking me for promoting his eBay auctions and things. So, so again, this is just a really great piece, and again, I like the approach to it with the way
I love it. Yeah, what a draftsman. I mean, this guy can draw. I mean, there's just no two ways about it.
Yeah, see, as Ruben said, still waiting for Darkseid to close that hand though. Yes, exactly. Yeah, but you got to have it. It has to be a bit of a tense moment. You can't make him crush them like Hulk crushed that skull earlier from my pick. But yeah, Heart's right there. Big Kirby influence on that kind of a concept. Yeah, definitely. So that's my final pick. But again, like I said, this week I could have done probably 20 honorable mention picks for sure. And maybe I'll do that next week. Maybe, depending on the time, just to have like 5 other pieces to pull out. If we've still got people hanging out and watching the show, I might do it. But
that'd be cool.
Yeah, exactly. And there was Kirby Crackle in there, Eric. You're right. I missed that. But so yeah, a wonderful week for CAF and for art collectors for sure. I think we actually had a above normal week with art being added as well, so that kind of made it a little bit more challenging. So I think all those dealer sales that we've been seeing of late have been trickling back into people's collections, and with cons now too. I mean, I think it's really going to be interesting to see how this late winter and spring play out once people are out there actually buying more art direct from people, from the creators at the shows, and getting access to the dealers again there, whether or not we're going to see lots more art finding its way to CAF. It's going to be fun.
I think so. I think we can expect that.
All right. Well, hey, we were almost at the 2.5 hour mark. Chris, I love every segment of our CAF updates, but hanging out with you doing these picks is really enjoyable, and I'm glad everybody enjoys it. Hey, you know what?
Go on.
You say, hey, it's one of the highlights of my week. Maureen told me one of the nights, she's like, "Who's that guy you've got with you? He's great at doing these things." And I'm like, I love hanging out with Chris. He's so much fun. He's got a different eye than I do. But so when my wife knows it, I mean, everybody out there knows it too. That you're an asset to this show, Chris. And I
appreciate that. You're too nice, Bill. Thank you.
Oh, I don't.
Marcus is keeping me humble in the chat, though. Don't worry about
it. He keeps everybody humble in the chat, but yeah, you see, but you just said, that's one thing that Maureen has not said to me. You're incredibly nice. I've not gotten that from her, so I appreciate that. But she said you're awesome, and
well, tell her I vouch for you.
Thanks. I need that. Some nights I need that around here. But all right. Well, listen, it's we might as well just end this show together because I don't have anything else on my list to do. Nick, it's always a pleasure for Chris and I to do these. Trust me, and I'm going to email you too, so I can get you on the schedule, so we can do an interview with you sometime real soon. I'd love to do that, Nick. And
last week is Sean Gordon Murphy, and this week is Nick Patera. I think I might have to lay low for a while, Bill.
Yeah, well, that's pretty good, huh? Who will it be next time?
My heart.
Hey, the show is catching on, that's for sure. So listen, yeah, like I say, I'm trying to make sure that I didn't miss anything, but I think I got everything checked off. So we got it all done. So Chris, thanks again. I will see you next week. And everybody, thank you for tuning in. As always, this is my favorite show of the week, doing the CAF update and getting to hang out with everybody, and you as well, Chris. So I guess I'm going to bid everybody adieu, and we will see you again next week.
Bye, guys.